Okay, I'm going to call the March 10th, 2026 regular Board of Education meeting to order under Government Code Section 54950 et sequitur and Education Code Section 35140 et sequitur at the District Education Center, 1301 East Orange Slope Avenue at 5:31 p.m. We are going to adjourn to closed session for the purpose of discussing the following matters. I'm not seeing anybody here for public comment, so we're going to just move through that. The matters we'll be discussing are 3.1, public employment discipline, dismissal, suspension, release, leave, assignment, non-reelection, non-reappointment, resignation, reinstatement pursuant to Government Code Section 54957, 3.2, personnel matters, public employee appointments, employment pursuant to Government Code 54957, for Deputy Superintendent, Academic Leadership Team. 3.3, conference with labor negotiator, Dr. Kim LeBlanc Esparza, Superintendent, Dr. John Papalardo, Chief Business Officer, Chad McGow, Assistant Superintendent, Human Resources for CSEA, Apple, and PLUM. We will, for 3.4, claim number 667021-JK. And we have no people wishing to speak for closed session, so we'll adjourn at 5:32 to closed session. All right, I know Mrs. Blades is going to join us any minute. She's going to pop right out of there. So we're going to go ahead and reconvene to regular session at 6:43. I know that there's a big game tonight, so we want to move quickly so that those of you that are supporting El Dorado football or basketball will be able to get there as fast as possible. Okay, so report out of closed session. We have nothing to report out today. And Mrs. Quintero, will you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please? Okay, let the record show that all board members are present, including our student board member. Welcome. Okay, that moves us to approval of agenda. If I could have a motion and a second, please.
I'll make a motion to approve the March 10th, 2026 Board of Education agenda.
Second.
Oh, sorry.
Motion by Mrs. Anderson, second, but I'm going to give it to Mrs. Quintero just because she's closer. You get the next one. Any comments? All right, all those in favor? Aye. And opposed? Motion carries 5-0. And our student board member, did you have an aye? Great, thank you. Okay, so that takes us now to public comment for just item 10.1. So we'll take any blue cards for comments before this action. If you'd like to speak regarding 10.1 for the appointment of the assistant superintendent or deputy assistant superintendent of academic leadership team, we'll give you a minute to complete a public comment card. Are these specific for that or for later? Later? Okay, so seeing none. Okay, so we'll move to appoint. So can I have a motion, please? And maybe, do you all have the names, or would you like me to read the name?
I have it here.
Okay.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the appointment of Candace Perez as Deputy Superintendent of Academic Leadership effective April 1st, 2026.
I'll second.
Okay, motion by Mrs. Quintero, second by Mrs. Anderson, and Dr. Kim. Do you have any comments for us?
I do, thank you. So the district conducted a comprehensive and competitive interview process for this position. We received interest from a very strong pool of candidates, over 40 applicants in this process, reflecting the importance of this role. After multiple rounds of reviews and interviews with stakeholders from throughout the district, one candidate clearly rose to the top as the best fit to support the next phase of our district's work. Tonight, we are pleased to announce the selection of Dr. Candace Perez as the new Deputy Superintendent. I want to point out that we will no longer have two Assistant Superintendent roles, one of Student Services and Ed Services. We want to absolutely congratulate Ms. Renee Gray, who is retiring at the end of this year, and as such, that allowed us to I'll say modeled the way as we're looking at declining enrollment and we're looking at efforts to try to stabilize and make our budget reflect our revenues. One of the things that we chose to do was to eliminate one of the assistant superintendent positions. So this one is encompassing 2 roles. As we look at doing that, we're bringing the 2 areas together, and the district is strengthening alignment across our academic programs and our student support programs. During our recent engagement with staff, we heard consistently the importance of greater unification and collaboration across departments that support teaching, learning, and student wellness, and this structure is going to help that. The scope of responsibilities for Dr. Perez will be student achievement, curriculum and instruction, special education, assessments and accountability, professional learning, leadership development, and other critical academic and student support services. I have had the opportunity to work alongside Dr. Perez, and I've seen firsthand her dedication to students, her collaborative leadership style, her expertise in supporting both academic excellence and student success. Her experience and her vision and commitment to serving all students is going to make her very well suited for PYL-USD, and I'm excited to welcome her to our district. Unfortunately, she was not able to be with us this evening because she is actually leading the state superintendent conference in the state of Oregon Monday, today, and tomorrow. So she will join us next week. So thank you for your support, and I am really excited to have her join our team.
Thank you, Dr. Kim. Anybody have any comments, questions? Okay, with that.
Thank you, Renee. It's been an
Yes.
honor to serve with you, and we really appreciate everything you've done, and looking forward to you having lots of fun in retirement.
Will, thank you.
All right, with that, we'll take a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
And opposed? Motion carries 5-0 with an aye from the student. Aye. Board member. Perfect. Okay, that brings us to our public comment announcement. Public comment cards are over in the foyer and also at the table here to the right. Cards must be completed and turned in prior to the designated time for public comment. We will provide a maximum of 3 minutes per person, and if a translation is needed, we can provide an additional 3 minutes. Just let us know ahead of time so that we can ensure that we're prepared. We have a civility policy. It's for Education Code 220 prohibits discrimination on the basis of disability, gender, gender identity, gender expression, nationality, race, or ethnicity, religion, sexual orientation, or any other characteristic, bless you, that is contained in the definition of hate crime set forth in section 422.55 of the Penal Code, including immigration status. Additionally, if there are any disruptions or interference of the board's ability to conduct the meeting, the disrupted parties will be given 1 warning. If the disruption continues, you'll be informed that the board president has found you disruptive in violation of Penal Code Section 403, Education Code Section 32210, and the board president will order you removed from the meeting under Education Code 54957.9, 54957.95. If removing one or several disruptive parties does not restore order, the board president will exercise their authority to clear the room in accordance with Government Code Section 54957. But hopefully we won't ever get to that point. So we're going to move now to approval of minutes, and I'd like a motion first for the February 10th meeting. Okay, second.
Second.
Okay. Motion by Mrs. Blade, second by Mr. Frazier. Any comments? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Perfect. 5-0 and an aye from the student board member. All right, that brings us now to recognitions, what we've all been waiting for. So, Dr. Kim, I'll turn it over to you.
I am excited to welcome the El Dorado High School mock trial team from 25-26. They are the Orange County champions, and Mr. Mike Young is going to introduce them along with their principal, Mr. Zides. Thank you all for being here.
All right, good evening, President Buck, trustees, Superintendent Dr. Kim, and executive cabinet members. Tonight, it is my distinct privilege to recognize the accomplishments of the El Dorado High School mock trial team seated before us. I'd like to invite El Dorado's high school mock trial team and the coaches to come forward and line up right in front of the dais.
Come on up.
All right, thank you very much. Mock trial is a very unique civic engagement education program that combines performance-based, law-related education with tournament-style academic competition. High school students work in teams under the guidance of volunteer attorney coaches and teachers to analyze the facts of a hypothetical criminal court case, develop trial strategies, and portray every role in the courtroom proceedings as members of either the prosecution or the defense. This year's case, People versus Frummelts, centered on the trial of Haley Frummelts, a chef and contestant on the reality television cooking show Recipe for Success, who is charged with murdering celebrity judge Morgan Sears using poisonous heart-stopper mushrooms during the filming of the show's semifinal challenge. Wow. Right? The charge against Frummelts is the first-degree murder with voluntary manslaughter considered as a lesser-included alternative offense. Well, the Golden Hawks were named the 2025-2026 Orange County champions, culminating an impressive season in the second largest mock trial competition in the state. This championship marks El Dorado's 9th county title and its first consecutive county championship. This just further solidifies the program as the most successful Orange County in history. Remarkably, El Dorado remains the only high school to have secured a county championship in every decade since the inception of the Orange County Mock Trial program. This outstanding achievement has earned the team a spot in the California Mock Trial State Finals, which will take place March 20th through the 22nd in Oakland. And over the course of the 26 hours of competition, the team will compete in 4 rigorous rounds against top teams representing 36 counties across the state. Last year, El Dorado placed 4th in the state, and we look forward to seeing what they will accomplish in the weeks ahead. Now, we would like to recognize the students individually. Students, please raise your hand when your name is called. Audience members, we kindly ask that you hold your applause until all students have been recognized. Logan Alcazar. Dean Armand. Kelsey Bay. Jean Haley Cameron. Olivia Castro. Micah Cabaluzzi. Colin Chan. Ivory Chang. Sahiba Chowdhury, Julia DeAndrade, Katarina Diaz, Evangeline Doe, Benedict Estrada, Lauren Gee, Madeline Hua, Rachel Engel, Christine Kang, Nathan Kim, Audrey Louie, Tessa Moore, Ariana Mozaka, Tanya Narona, Alyssa Reamer, Nicholas Song, and Madison Webb. Let's give them a round. The coaches who guided the team to victory are right here in front of us. Sunshine Cavaluzzi, an alumni of both El Dorado and its mock trial team, alumni of that team. If you can believe it, she's now in her 25th year of coaching the team. We also have Robin Abledo, Tony Cavaluzzi, and Nina Kovac as their coaches. In addition to the team's success, one talented El Dorado student also earned top honors in a prestigious county-wide competition that blends art with the legal world. I'd like to invite Selah Bay to come forward.
She's at actually volleyball practice, but she's sent her stand-in, so Kelsey Bay is here. Luckily, we're a family operation.
Yeah, just you can stand right here on behalf of yours. The Courtroom Art Contest is a distinguished competition that allows artistically talented students to engage with the mock trial program by observing courtroom proceedings and creating detailed illustrations of the trial, similar to professional courtroom sketch artists. Selah, my former student, by the way, was named the Orange County champion in this year's Courtroom Art Contest. As the top finisher, she has qualified to compete at the state championships, where participants also have the opportunity to refine their skills through workshops led by professional courtroom artists. A look at her award-winning illustration is displayed on the screen before you.
Nice.
Golden Hawks, congratulations on an incredible season. You make El Dorado High School and the entire PYL USD community immensely proud. We are also honored to have El Dorado Principal Mr. Zides with us in the audience tonight. And on behalf of the Board of Education and the district, please accept the certificates of achievement that I'll hand to you in a minute in recognition of your dedication, teamwork, and excellence. Please join me in giving these outstanding students and coaches a well-deserved round of applause. And at this time, I would like to invite the Golden Hawks to come around my right side here and shake hands with our board members and join us for a group photo right after to commemorate this impressive achievement.
Okay, photo first.
Go back, photo first.
All right, so.
I just read the script. One more. One more. I want to be a part of that team. Yeah. They're going to come down and shake your guys' hands.
Champion. They're next.
It's a lot of certificates, yeah. It's amazing.
We'll get there. I love it. Hi, St. Patrick's Day. I love the theme. Where's your green?
I know.
I didn't do it either.
I know. I was trying, like, so you can kind of see, I tried to paint my nails green, and it's just like, it kept falling off. I was like, forget it.
I can't.
I'll introduce you and then I'll walk away. Hi. Yeah. Yeah.
Congratulations again, and as they leave, could we give them one more round of applause? And the El Dorado girls basketball team, I believe, has just started at 7:01, so hopefully you can get there, don't speed, get there safely, and cheer on El Dorado. We lost Tricia. Did she get swept out?
Thank you.
There she is. Okay. Next, we have another recognition, and Dr. Kim, I'll turn it over to you for the next round.
It is truly a great evening to celebrate so many of our students. This time we're going to celebrate the Esperanza Cheer 2026 CIF Traditional Competitive Cheer Championship team, and they're going to be introduced by Dr. Taylor Holloway.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Kim. Tonight, it is my pleasure to recognize the Esperanza High School Aztecs competitive cheer team for their outstanding achievement this season. I would like to invite all of you up here, please. Join us like... Okay, on January 24th, Esperanza High School Aztecs competitive cheer team captured the CIF Southern Section Division III AA Traditional Competitive Cheer Championship, marking an unforgettable moment in the program's history. After months of preparation, discipline, and teamwork, the squad delivered an exceptional performance at the CIF Southern Section Ford Traditional Competitive Cheer Championships. Competing against several strong teams from across their division, the Aztecs demonstrated remarkable precision, spirit, and athleticism, impressing both judges and spectators. Their routine earned the highest score in the division, placing them ahead of the runner-up teams and showcasing their skill throughout the competition. A key factor in their victory was the team's ability to execute high difficulty skills with near flawless synchronization, combined with strong crowd engagement and outstanding team energy. Coaches credit the team's success to countless hours of practice, attention to detail, and strong team chemistry, all of which helped them rise above. The continued support of the parents and the Booster Club also played an important role in the team's achievement. At this time, we would like to recognize all of the students individually. Students, please raise your hand when your name is called. And again, we kindly ask that you hold the applause until the end. All right, Addison Ossie, Olivia McAllister, Bailey Katz, Chloe Futterer, Delilah Mayotte, Emma Fairburn, Emma Williams, Gianna Ramos, Gianna Loken, Harmony Edwards, Jalissa Saldivar, Lily Sweeney, Miley Huang, Marissa Farah, Reagan Rivera, Samantha Thompson, Savannah Moody, Seven Furco, and Sloan Holt. The coaches who guided the team to victory are head coach Isabel Sedano and assistant coach Juliana Macedo. Aztecs, congratulations on an incredible accomplishment. You make all of us immensely proud. We're also honored to have Esperanza principal, Mrs. Kelly Molina, with us here in the audience. On behalf of the Board of Education and the district, please accept these certificates of achievement, and please join me in giving them a huge round of applause. All right, photo time. You guys want to stand up and we'll take a photo, and then we'll do the flyers.
As they file out, let's give them a round of applause as well. That is hard work. Mrs. Quintero and I both have daughters that have been competitive cheerleaders, and I'm telling you, the athleticism, those girls are hands down probably the best in this school. Yes, it should be a sport. I know, it is. Yes, I know. Okay, so that brings us now to our student board report, and Simran, I'll pass it to you.
Good evening, President Buck, trustees, and Superintendent Dr. Kim, and executive cabinet members. I'm excited to be here tonight to share recent updates from our comprehensive high schools and alternative campuses. Parkview continues its preparations for the March 2026 WASC mid-cycle review, while Buena Vista Virtual Academy completes its mid-cycle report. The schools will host their upcoming open house on March 26th, providing families with an opportunity to view student work, learn about program pathways, and connect with both supervising and content teachers. Buena Vista Virtual Academy also looks forward to participating in an upcoming Holocaust education event at Chapman University, offering students a meaningful opportunity to deepen their historical understanding and civic awareness. In addition, the Yorba Linda Chamber of Commerce recognized Parkview senior Ava Preeb as Student of the Month. At El Camino High School, students continued to be provided with opportunities that foster connection, culture, and college and career readiness. Over the past month, students participated in several field trips, including visits to Fullerton College, Paul Mitchell School of Barbering and Cosmetology, and North Orange County Continuing Education, as well as attending a live performance of Man of La Mancha. El Camino's after-school culinary arts enrichment program has also held 2 sessions during which students prepared dishes such as spaghetti bolognese and homemade pizza while building practical culinary skills. The school's intramural soccer team has begun competing against other continuation high schools, including La Vista High School in Fullerton and Richland High School in Orange, with the flag football season set to begin in April. The school community is also looking forward to its second annual family night later this month, followed by Future Ready Day in April. On behalf of its 400 Golden Hawk Scholars, El Dorado High School recently hosted its annual Golden Hawk Scholars Night, an open house. The event welcomed family members of the Board of Education, and District Executive Cabinet to celebrate the academic achievements of El Dorado students. During the evening, the Hawk's Nest proudly announced the 2026 El Dorado High School valedictorian, Vincent Kim, a standout aquatic student athlete and exemplary leader in the classroom. The Hawk Nest community also celebrated a major achievement as the girls basketball team qualified for the state regional playoffs and captured the CIF Division IV championship on Friday, February 27th. The El Dorado community continues to demonstrate pride and excellence both in the classroom and in athletic competition. Esperanza's academic decathlon team has also achieved notable success, placing 5th in Orange County and earning an impressive number of individual medals. The team was additionally recognized with the first place OCAD Spirit Award for the 5th time, reflecting their dedication, teamwork, and enthusiasm throughout the competition. The boys' soccer team had an outstanding season, advancing to the CIF finals. Although they narrowly missed the championship title, the team's journey to the finals was a remarkable accomplishment. The Esperanza Color Guard is enjoying a successful season as well, earning first place finishes in their 2 most recent competitions. Esperanza's show choir has also launched its competition season with a great momentum, earning the title of Grand Champions at its first competition in Burbank. In addition, the school's dance team will soon compete at its national competition, representing Esperanza on the national stage. Venture Academy's choir performed its Love concert on February 26th at the Performing Arts Center, featuring 6 soloists and a selection of songs spanning from the 1940s to today. The event raised $500 in donations and highlighted the talents of students under the direction of choir director Carmen Contreras. The Venture community also celebrated 2024 graduate Melissa Ramirez, who will be featured in the upcoming season of Love on the Spectrum. A trailer is expected March 17th, with episodes beginning April 1st. At George Key School, students will attend a noteworthy puppets assembly on March 19th, associated with the Segerstrom Center for the Arts. The event, hosted at Golden Elementary's MPR, is made possible through a donation from the Yorba Linda Sunrise Rotary. Valencia High School's academic decathlon team earned 2nd place in Orange County Division I and will advance to the state competition in March. Valencia students also competed at the Harvard National Speech and Debate Tournament in Cambridge, Massachusetts, where 4 Tigers were recognized as finalists among more than 6,000 participants. Mia Zhu placed 16th in impromptu speaking, Eric Chang placed 36th in humorous interpretation, and Elisa Chang placed 37th in informative speaking. Looking ahead, Valencia will host its new Tiger Orientation Night on March 11th for incoming members of the class of 2030. The event will provide future students and families an opportunity to learn about the freshman experience and connect with coaches, student leaders, and program advisors. Yorba Linda High School recently celebrated Lunar New Year with the APISU Club, highlighting cultural traditions, snacks, and games from several Asian countries that observe the holiday. Spring sports are now underway, with Mustang teams beginning their seasons and preparing for upcoming league competition. The school's visual and performing arts also continues to shine. Dance Company recently hosted the Love Dance Festival. The jazz band performed at the Essentially Ellington Regional in Riverside, and the Winter Guard earned first place at Segerstrom Tournament. The theater department is currently preparing its spring musical, The Music Man, and the District Art Show will open on April 1st. Future VAPA students are also invited to attend the Mustang Roundup on April 1st. That concludes my report this evening.
Thank you, Simran. I have a question for you to wrap that up. So in what ways has Parkview School and the Placentia-Yorba Unified School District helped prepare you for life beyond high school, academically, socially, or personally?
As a student at Parkview, I've benefited from the support of our teachers and staff. There were times when I did struggle in certain classes, but teachers took the time to help me during office hours to make sure I stayed on track within my courses. And because of that, I feel more prepared for life after high school thanks to the support from PYL-USD and Parkview.
Thank you, Simran. That's really nice. And it's good for us to hear about the support that you had at school. All right, so now that brings us to our superintendent report, and I'll pass it to you, Dr. Kim.
Thank you. Good evening, President Buck, trustees, and executive cabinet members. I'm going to start with the school year calendar. I want to first thank everyone who provided input to help guide decisions for the next 3 years worth of school calendar cycle. More than 7,000 stakeholders participated in the process and were able to view real-time results, offering a valuable snapshot of community feedback. The calendar committee, comprised of teachers, classified staff, and administrators, is working to develop future school calendars. In addition to meeting state requirements, the committee has to carefully consider historical practices, community traditions, and stakeholder feedback to ensure the calendar reflects the needs and values of the PYL-USD community. The members of the community will also be bringing the drafts they develop to their associations, as that is part of bargaining. And given both associations have had leadership at the table leading the development, we've ensured that they not only have voice, but leadership within this process. We plan on bringing the 27-28, 28-29, and 29-30 calendars to the board in May. Principal for a Day. We look forward to hosting our annual Principal for the Day on Wednesday, March 18th. In collaboration with our partners at Placentia and Yorba Linda Chambers of Commerce. Guest principals will have the opportunity to get an inside look at our campuses by shadowing school principals throughout the morning. The day will conclude here with a luncheon and conversation reflecting on their experiences at our schools. This year's luncheon will be catered by the talented culinary students from Esperanza, Yorba Linda, and Valencia High Schools. We're grateful for the continued support of the Chamber of Commerce and our community partners, and we look forward to showcasing the outstanding work of our students, staff, programs, facilities, and dedicated site leaders. Are you ready to run? Shamrock and Run is this Sunday, and our partners at the Reach Foundation will host their annual Shamrock and Run 5K and 2K at Yorba Regional Park in Anaheim. We hope to see many of you there. It's not too late to sign up. I'm doing the 5K if anybody wants to join me. Proceeds from this event, I'm walking, by the way, not running. Proceeds from this event directly support the district's annual middle school track meet and other student programs made possible through the Reach Foundation, an all-volunteer, educational-focused 501c3 nonprofit that benefits students across PYL-USD. More information about the event and a registration link are available on our district website. Chapman Holocaust. All of our middle and high school students recently had the opportunity to participate in the 27th annual Chapman University Holocaust Remembrance Art and Writing Contest. The theme of the contest was Holding On to Hope. Each year, students from around the world participate in this contest in order to conduct research on the Holocaust and World War II. They're instructed to listen to the testimony of a Holocaust survivor or rescuer while thinking about that individual's motivation in telling their story. Then they're tasked with creating an original art piece, film, or writing that retold and reflected upon the individual's experience. For many years, PYL has been distinguished as a part of this competition as our students from all middle and high school sites participate. We're proud to celebrate that the 32 students who represented PYL-USD this year. Participants included 3 representatives from each middle school and high school, along with several students from our alternative campuses. This year, we're excited to announce that PYL had 2 poetry finalists, 2 second-place winners, and 1 first-place winner, who will be announced and recognized at the awards ceremony this Friday, March 13th at Chapman University. Artworks. We are inviting parents, students, and community members to attend the annual student art exhibition, Artworks. This highly anticipated event will be held at the Richard Nixon Presidential Library and Museum and will be open to the public throughout the month of April between the hours of 10 a.m. and 5 p.m. A special reception opening will take place on April 1st from 5:30 to 8 p.m. at the library. Thank you to Dr. Elizabeth Summers and her leadership in coordinating this event in partnership with the Reach Foundation, PYLUC, the Yorba Linda Women's Club, and the National Archives. Having already seen the incredible talent of our students, I'm excited to introduce a new tradition this year. President Buck and I will walk through the student artwork exhibition and select several pieces of art to be purchased by the district and preserved as part of the PYL USD Student Art Collection, a growing collection that will celebrate student artistry across our district. The selected artwork will be displayed here in the boardroom behind the dais, and each year additional pieces will be added to the collection, creating a lasting visual legacy of student creativity in PYL USD. In addition, pieces from the collection will be rotated and loaned to district administrators for display in conference rooms and offices throughout the district, allowing more members of our community to experience and appreciate the outstanding work of our students. Strategic visioning and planning continues. As a part of the process, PYL USD is engaging a wide range of voices across our school community. And to support this effort, the district will host 5 community forums open to all families, staff, and community members. Each session will offer interpretation services, free dinner, and childcare for students grades TK through 6. To learn more, please visit our district website. I want to also wish my congratulations and good luck to our El Dorado Lady Golden Eagles tonight, basketball team who are playing, I am going to butcher this name, Lusinger? Am I saying that right? Okay, tonight at El Dorado, good luck to our Lady Hawks. The winner will advance to the CIF State Championship in Sacramento this weekend. And finally, while she's probably going to be very angry at me, I want to thank Annette Newton, because this is her last meeting. She is going to spend time traveling and with her family and is retiring at the end of this year. I just want to say a special thank you for making my transition into the superintendency such a wonderful experience working alongside you, so thank you. That concludes my report this evening.
Thank you, and I second that to Annette, even though she didn't want any attention.
Couldn't help it, sorry.
I'm glad you did. Okay, so now that brings us to public comment. Public comment is an opportunity for the public to provide input to the Board of Education. During the public comment period, board members do not dialogue with the speakers or make comments regarding the information shared. We have 5 speakers wishing to speak tonight, and each speaker will have 3 minutes. 6? Oh, there's a 6th one. Okay. We're still at the 3-minute mark. Okay, so when the speakers come up, please say your name, and I will list. I'll start with the first 3, and then I'll move to the next 3. So the first 3 are Al Judd, Grace Hernandez, and Sarah Phillips. And the rest are Julie Bearden, Heaven Casey, and Whitney Keene. So if you'd like to come up to the front row, you can have a seat there while you're waiting. All right, Mr. Judd.
Hi, my name's Al Judd. I'm here to speak about Policy 1445, about immigration officers in our schools. I'm vehemently opposed to it, and I will tell you why. There's been a lot of talk about why the students did the walkout and why there's so much resistance to this. And I'll tell you why I got involved. I'll tell you why I showed up for the walkout. Because when I was doing my research on this, I was looking at the comments section, and one of the parents asked Leandra Blades, doesn't this target Hispanic students? Leandra's response was, why would you think this targets Hispanics? We have a very large Asian community of immigrants here as well. That's overt racism against Hispanics and Asian students from our district. And she can sit there and clutch her pearls and nod her head and all that kind of stuff, but we're very opposed to this. You know, you read, when we come up here, we can't be racist, we can't discriminate against people, we can't do any of that. And she wants to sneak it in as a part of school policy. It's outrageous. And it's not just this particular policy. This entire Heritage Foundation agenda, if you haven't done it yet, you owe it to yourselves in the community to look up the Heritage Foundation Project 2025 Mandate for Leadership and Google the word education. They're dismantling our Board of Education at the federal level. They're completely erasing history. Look at what Trump's done to the Smithsonian Institute. They have an entire agenda to change our entire education system. And you have people here on the school board as part of that agenda that are trying to infiltrate it and discriminate against our kids. If you can't keep your racist agenda out of the school board, you should resign. You should just get out of here. Leave. Take your shit and get the fuck out of here.
Okay, sir, no, it's not okay. Sir, you need to please leave. We can't have language like that. Okay, so next, Grace Hernandez, please.
So the purpose of my speech today is basically to just say, at the last one, 54 people spoke against the resolution that would allow ICE to enter schools and school buses during school hours, and it still got passed 5-0, which is kind of ridiculous. And the wording was changed from including federal law enforcement to encapsulating all law enforcement, and it seems like a lot of people fell for it because there's not a lot of people here today. So I'm just going to speak for all of them, I guess. So I'm asking today, if you don't care what 54 people have to say, then why do we have to care about what you have to say? Because you kept saying the country was built upon law, but the law only exists as long as the people will it to be so. The Constitution was made for the very purpose of serving the people and give us the right to bear arms if we disagreed with the law. So the law does not rule us, we rule the law. We decide what the law is and what rules we want to abide by. Which brings me to my third point, which is that if people do see masked men going into schools, there will be nothing short of a civil war. That is precisely where the tipping point of our country would be. When parents see children getting taken, they will step in, and there's absolutely nothing you could say that would stop that, and it's foolish to believe so. I find it hard to believe that you aren't aware of that, so it's either what you want or I genuinely don't trust your sense of judgment. And you also can't say disregarding the law is disrespecting the country when you were raiding, destroying, and desecrating the Capitol on January 6th. And my last point is that I find it funny. In the last meeting, you kept saying our country was founded upon law when we came here immigrating from laws we disagreed with and killed off the natives. We also have one of the school mascots is the Aztecs. So, Mexican culture is part of American culture. And all of that is just objectively the truth, that's the foundation we were built upon and just not an opinion. And that was all.
Okay, Sarah Phillips.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Sarah Phillips, and I'm the librarian at Yorba High School. A few things. First, happy Women's History Month. Second, I'm also the advisor of the National Honor Society chapter at Yorba High School, and I wanted to congratulate the 62 sophomores and juniors that were inducted last Thursday. It was a lovely ceremony. Third, I need to come back to my unfinished comment from last month. I'll reiterate that Resolution 2112, the CRT ban needs to be removed for the reasons stated last month. The second resolution I'd like you to consider is 2030. Originally passed in 2020, it included a reference to Black students' mental health and the reality of police brutality in America. That part was removed in 2021. I and many others think it should be added back into the resolution. Black families are part of this community and district and deserve representation. Lastly, I hope everyone is reading some good books. My favorite since the last board meeting was a tie between The Filling Station by Tia Williams and Junie by Aaron Crosby Eckstein, both historical fiction, my favorite genre, and thank you for your time.
I'm Julie Bearden. Members of the board, what occurred at the last meeting was more than a moment of heated public comment. It was a failure of leadership. Leandra Blades was subjected to repeated open verbal attacks, and today, the response from leadership was not protection of the integrity of this body, but silence. And that silence spoke very loudly. It signaled that the rules meant to guide respectful engagement can be selectively enforced. A school board is entrusted with modeling the values we expect students to live by: respect, fairness, accountability. Equality cannot exist when enforcement depends on who is being targeted. Public comment is a cornerstone of transparency and civic participation. It is not a license to degrade, intimidate, or humiliate. Leadership requires the courage to enforce boundaries even when doing so may be uncomfortable. Allowing a board member to be publicly targeted without intervention undermines the credibility of this institution and erodes trust in its leadership. Civility policy in its intent promotes mutual respect, civility, and orderly conduct among district employees, parents, and members of the public. It also reminds us that freedom of expression is important and protected. It should never come at the cost of creating a hostile or volatile environment. Disagreement is normal and a healthy part of public discourse, but last meeting, lines were crossed that this policy was written to prevent. The moment calls for reflection and accountability. Respectful discourse must not depend on popularity, politics, or personal alliances. Every member of this board deserves the same standard of protection and professionalism. Leadership is not measured by how smoothly meetings proceed when things are easy. It is measured by whether you are willing to stand up for fairness when it's not. The community deserves better. So do the people who serve on this board. Please do better.
My name is Heaven Casey. Good evening, PYLUSD School Board. Some of you might remember me from speaking in January, but to briefly remind you, my name is Heaven Casey and my son has been a student since pre-K. I've been an advocate for children for nearly over a decade, and I always speak out regarding topics that concern me pertaining to children with their mental, emotional, and physical safety. Last time I spoke regarding keeping pride flags out of schools because the children I've seen on social media are begging and crying for that to stop, as well as keeping boys and girls sports separate and bathrooms being used based on gender for safety for both boys and girls on campus. These are battle cries. I also spoke about the school district being in violation regarding Title IX in reference to keeping equal opportunities for female athletes. I am also here speaking about keeping children safe from ICE, because as a person who has multicultures in them, it pains me to see our children afraid to go to school just because of their immigration status. I am asking again for real introspection regarding all of these topics. Children shouldn't be bearing the brunt of their parents' bad decisions. And these children should feel safe, happy, and secure within the walls of our schools. Each of you elected board members took an oath to protect all children in this school district because you were elected by the people and for the people. I'm praying to God that changes your heart to think godly rather than politically. As a person of faith, I again ask this question: what would it take to look and lead with wisdom, humility, and moral clarity? Revival does not come through division. It comes through courage, togetherness, unity, and love for humanity, especially when it comes to our children. I believe we can maintain appropriate boundaries in school bathrooms, protect girls' sports, keep politics out of classrooms, focus on the mental health of these students, protect all students from harm within the walls of our schools. It truly takes a village, and a good leader looks out for the best interests of others regardless of political differences. Having this mentality creates a legacy our children will inherit and respect. Let's all make decisions to honor all children in this school district. Thank you for your time, and may God continue to bless the PYLUSD School Board. Thank you to Annette Newton and Renee Gray. Enjoy retirement.
Good evening, board members. My name is Whitney Keene. I'm a parent of two PYLUSD students with a third set to start in the fall. I'm here to speak on behalf of our neighbors and friends, but also as a teacher employed in a neighboring district who knows that schools should be the absolute safest place in a community for children. For many students in our district, particularly those whose families include immigrants, that sense of safety depends on the decisions that you make in this room. Board Policy 1445, Response to Immigration Enforcement, should clearly include that staff will document any immigration enforcement activity on or near school campuses. Documentation and transparency are not obstruction or interference. They are a responsible public service and help ensure families are informed and protected. The policy should also explicitly affirm that no student will be denied equal rights or educational opportunities because of their family's immigration status, not just the student's own status. That protection matters to the families that you serve, and it should be stated explicitly in the policy. Our schools exist to educate and protect children, not to create fear for them or their families. And so I urge you to strengthen this policy so that every family in this district knows that they are safe, valued, and welcome at their children's schools and in our community. Thank you.
Thank you, speakers. That takes us now to our consent calendar. The consent calendar actions proposed by the consent calendar for the consent calendar items are consistent with approved practices for the district and are deemed routine in nature. The trustees receive board agenda backup information in advance of scheduled meetings and are prepared to vote with the knowledge on block vote items. Is there anybody that wants to pull anything?
Yes, 19.13 and 19.14.
I also would like to pull 20.1, and then as a block, 20.4, 20.5, and 20.6.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent calendar as amended.
Thank you. Okay, motion by, well, not as amended, but without those pulled, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
As adjusted,
So-
whatever word you want to use.
Okay, motion by Mr. Frazier and second by Mrs. Blades. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Perfect. All right, motion carries 5-0 and aye with the student board member. Do you want to do
I'm going to
them
block
separately?
these. No,
Okay.
I'm going to block them. So 19.3, I'll make a motion to approve 19.13 and 19.1.4.
Second.
Okay, we have a
Okay.
motion second. Go ahead.
Thank you. So I was just looking at this, and it was the St. John's Pizza contract, and this was for, I believe, the entire year. Or I'm sorry, not St. John's, Papa John's. I made up a new company.
John's Pizza.
So we pay $750,000 for that, and then it sounds like every 4 months we pay $256,000 for other foods from 19.14 to be brought in. And I guess it's like cold food that gets distributed to our schools. And so with the Valencia Kitchen project being a hot topic in the community, and $6.4 million may not be the actual amount, it's just what we're guessing it to be. It could be much more. I've had a lot of people that have experience in this type of thing talk about how much cheaper it could be if we used nutrition services as a hub, and we didn't maybe go forward with such an expensive kitchen project, but we focus more on the district and then dispersing food as it goes out, that it's a cheaper option and it's actually something that they're doing more consistently throughout schools in Orange County and California. And so I was just bringing that up, which I don't know, how is this all that we pay for food to be delivered in, or is there more, like, you know, with the fresh foods and all the cooking and all that, those things like that, and especially with declining enrollment and having to lay off staff and employees, I'm wondering if this is a cheaper option and something that we should be looking into, being where we are. I'd rather pay employees than have a big fancy kitchen.
Go ahead, John.
Sure, no problem. We can bring back a sort of a little more comprehensive nutrition services presentation on what we do. The current budget, and we'll see that in just a few minutes on second interim, I think is a little over $18 million a year that we spend, and you know, in excess of, I think, $9 million on food. So this isn't the only food. There's a lot of food. So the Papa John's is brought into some middle schools and then the after school programs, and so there's a lot of pieces to it, and I think it's best if we sort of look at the whole program, and we can do that.
Right, and I mainly pulled it to bring this up.
Yes.
Because they're also saying, at the school sites that only 50% of the kids are actually eating the food. And so, or actually utilizing a lot of the school lunches and things like that. So I'm just wondering if we need to actually look at the whole program and to see like what would be more beneficial, to save money, because it does seem like there's, in all of our school sites, they say there's just a ton of waste. So that's all I'm just looking at.
You are correct in all of those things that you hear. I actually don't know what our current participation is, but we can certainly look at that. Waste is an issue statewide and nationwide. They've been going through that. So all of those are topics that are ongoing.
Right.
And so
right.
We're happy to, do sort of a comprehensive
Right.
look
I was
at it
hearing
all.
that at like our high school sites, the food that's coming out of the kitchen, that only like 52% of the kids are actually utilizing the food that's actually cooked in the kitchen. And so I was just wondering if there's a better way.
I would say, I would look at data and say that we have somewhere in the ballpark of about 48% of our students that qualify for meal assistance in our district. And so there will be a percentage above and beyond that 48% who suffer food insecurity and need that support. At the high school, typically the number is lower, mostly because they can drive and they'd rather go somewhere else because it's cooler to do, right? But I would say our rates of students who eat typically are significantly higher at K through 8.
No, I understand that. I was just looking more at like this big kitchen project because it is a hot topic.
Yeah.
And then so is that a good place, or is it better to build up our hub at Nutrition Services and then start pumping food out from there?
I would love to bring like an analysis of how many meals do we serve a day? What's the average? What does it look like? What are overall contracts? I'm used to large commodity contracts at the end of every school year to fund for the following school year.
Right.
To try to maximize that dollar, but there's so much more to it. I would love to have our team put together some data and bring it back to you if that's okay.
Yeah, that would be great.
Okay.
It was just one of the reasons I pulled it was because of, we all have had high school students and we know that a lot of them, they leave campus and go eat. So, yes. Yeah. Okay, well, thank you so much.
Okay, any other comments? Okay, with that, let's take a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Perfect. 5-0 with an aye from the student board member. Or Simran. I hate saying that. I'd rather just say your name. Okay, moving to 20.1.
I'll make a motion to ratify the independent contract agreement as listed in accordance with Board Policy 4124, retention of consultants.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Mrs. Anderson, what would you like to?
I pulled this just to draw attention. This is with our contract with the First Lego League with the Reach Foundation. And if you guys haven't been following social media and the news, we have 2 teams that are progressing. The one team that is from Golden and Kramer Middle School, they actually earned first place in Southern California, and they are going to the World Competition in May at Houston. And then a second team from Fairmont, they finished 5th, and they've been invited to go to a world competition actually in Canada. And this is an amazing opportunity for these students. And Travis Ranch. Sorry, I misspoke.
I just wanted you to get it right.
No, Sharks, the Fire Sharks. And so if you are interested in helping support these students and their coaches, you can make a donation to the Reach Foundation. They each have GoFundMe accounts, but this is a great way to support these students because I've been following them and they have done an amazing job, and I'm excited for them to represent our district and their schools on the world stage. So that's all. That's why I pulled it.
I hope they win. I would love to have them back in here and hear about their championships. They might do a cheer.
They'll let you hold their ginormous trophy.
Okay, any other comments? All right, with that, let's take a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0, and a yes from Simran.
Okay, I would like to make a motion to approve 20.4, the AP Kickstart Business and Personal Finance, 20.5 American Sign Language, ASL 4 class, and 20.6 College and Career Access Pathways.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion second. Mrs. Anderson.
Okay.
Explain away.
There's been a lot of talk about cutting programs and things like that, and these are new programs or new classes that are coming throughout our district, and just thought I would give Dr. Kim an opportunity to talk about that, how things are shifting.
Thank you. I'm really excited about, AP College Board has really reached out to us and offered to come in and work alongside our school teams, our school leadership, to talk about student success, to talk about student course selection, to talk about how to look at our data and ensure that our students are not only taking classes but succeeding in those classes. And in fact, Valencia piloted the AP Kickstart Business with Personal Finance class, and it is going to be offered fully across the country for the first time in the 26-27 school year. And so while we were able to pilot some of the content, this is an opportunity to offer that to our students. We're also expanding and adding American Sign Language 4 at Esperanza, so an opportunity for students to continue developing their skill set and increasing their capacity within a language, a world language. And then finally, our schools have partnered in a grant process with higher ed institutions to offer more concurrent enrollment classes, and there are 6 new concurrent enrollment classes that are going to be offered to our students as a part of the 20.6. The list of those are right there in the agenda. Lots of different CTE opportunities, lots of higher education advancement opportunities to transcript classes and get our kids started down the road of higher education.
Thank you. That's it.
Grateful, and thanks for the extra explanation. I'm excited about those as well. Mrs. Anderson and I have been talking about personal finance and adding that for a really long time, so it is exciting that we're here.
I would add that our students, through the strategic planning listening sessions, in every session we've had, students have talked about the importance of developing their skill set in that space and wanting it, so I expect it to be a popular course throughout our district.
Awesome. Love to hear that. Okay, with that, let's take a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, motion carries 5-0 and a +1 from Simran. Okay, that next takes us to our presentations, and we have an exciting one coming up, our academic functions review, and I'll turn it over to Dr. Kim.
If it's okay with you all, I'm going to step over to the podium for this one because I have a really difficult time presenting and teaching from my seat. I do a better job on my feet, so I'm going to move over that way if that's okay. Which of these clickers, Jeremy, do I go with? There's a few. Okay. Okay, thank you. So to get us started, this fall when I came on board, one of the things that I asked for support in was bringing in a colleague of mine whose expertise is absolutely in the area of curriculum and instruction, teaching and learning. I was fortunate enough, I have many colleagues from different times throughout my educational career that people have really supported me and the school districts that I've worked in really looking at the student experience and determining if we're using the best programming and the best strategies to meet the needs of students. And so we brought in the Chief Academic Officer from Jeffco Public Schools, Renee Nicothodis. She met with our principals, she met with teachers, she observed in classrooms, she looked at our data, and then she did what we call a review of academic functions to tell us, what did she hear? What are folks telling us we do really well? What is it that we really are missing in terms of blind spots? And what recommendations would she make for us going forward if we want to ensure all students are successful in our school district? So as we looked at that review of academic functions, I'm going to ground us in some of the context of the lens she looked through. She wanted to call out the fact that PYL-USD is a good district. It has highly professional, caring, committed staff that absolutely spoke about being on a journey of continuous improvement, wanting to increase the outcomes for all students in our district. We have good practices happening, but they're not happening systematically. We call that moments of brilliance and spots of excellence. Our school district is an ecosystem where our individual work is dependent upon the health of the whole ecosystem. And in order for us to ensure all students are successful, we've got to make sure there are systems in place that support all of our students. The system has experienced high turnover. 6 superintendents in 7 years, certainly, with including the interims, means that oftentimes the discussion around what priorities feel like start, stop. And so certainly creating some continuity is going to help with the healthy ecosystem of the district. The turnover has impacted that. So in looking at the academic department organizations, we looked at identifying current successes, determining opportunities for growth, and explore proven organizational strategies from other similar districts that would help us gain insight on where could we be more successful with increasing success of all students in our district. What she really looked at was interviews, focus groups, having conversations with central office academic leaders to understand their current strengths and the opportunities for improvement, performed classroom observations across, she was in 5 of our elementary schools, 2 of our middle schools, and 2 of our high schools. She collected and analyzed our data from various sources, ARIES, from our dashboard, from all of our different vendors that we use for formative assessments and our state assessments. And she really looked at what are our strengths to leverage, what are our key challenges, and shared our findings with us so that we could share them with our principals, which we did in our last K-12 principal meeting. And now I'm having the opportunity to share kind of what her recommendations have been with you. She really lumped her findings into 3 major categories and 3 major themes: leadership, coherence, and strategic direction, organizational structure, data and accountability, and then instructional programs and professional learning. I got an opportunity to sit down and meet with her for about 3 hours to really go over all of her findings. She's written a narrative, an entire report narrative that I'll share with you all after we go over the review of academic functions, but I wanted to do this piece first, and then I could provide that so you have the context. So strengths. So the district size is absolutely a strength, enabling our centralized resources, common language, and a unified focus. We're not so big that people can't work together in a network, but we're not so small that we can't systematize the work that we do. District leaders have identified high leverage academic improvement initiatives across our district. But the challenges really are, our educators talked about a perception of overload and lack of coherence. School staff feel like there are too many initiatives, that they don't have a coherent through line through all of them. While many of them make a ton of sense based on the data that we have, that the through line doesn't exist. And what I mean by through line is this initiative isn't necessarily connected to this one, isn't necessarily connected to this one, or we don't understand why we're doing those 3 and how they all tie together. And so as we thought about, how does that look? There's a perceived lack of follow-through after training. We will give people an initial day of training on implementation of curriculum, but then 6 months in, once I really get into the curriculum or really get into the program and I have questions, there's not necessarily an opportunity for me to go back to the table and get more training or talk to the experts in the field to really deepen my understanding. There's a clear, consistent communication protocol is needed because there's a communication gap. When we really want to understand strategic decisions, as we make decisions, when we think about the strategic plan, it's going to be really critical that we communicate the why behind the various priorities and how it connects to our data and what our outcomes are that we're looking to achieve. When she focused in on organizational structure, data, and accountability, she really pointed out that the district possesses a wide array of formative and summative assessments. We are data rich. We have data. Our strategies for academic improvement is aligned to the data. The challenge is a systematic approach to monitor and evaluate the implementation and impact of academic improvement strategies is absent at both the district and school level. And what she meant by that was we don't have the type of data dashboard that will allow us to look at achievement, assessment, attendance, behavior, mental health supports, and all of the things to look at the whole child and look at whether or not a student is succeeding, and then determine if they are not, what do we do about it? And do we have consistent MTSS Tier 2 practices that will serve the needs of kids? And then concerns over the overall assessment burden. If we're going to ask people to do assessments, we have to make sure we're using the data in it to operationalize the student experience. And then finally, looking at instructional programs and professional learning. Our strengths, our teachers talked over and over again, and our principals talked over and over again about AVID being a consistent through line. And while there are oftentimes folks will struggle with the time and energy that it takes to implement AVID and implement it well, the thing that they pointed out was it was a consistency. It was something that they could get together and work consistently together on the strategies, on the systems, on ensuring that we're checking on all students and ensuring that they're not falling through the cracks. The Solution Tree Partnership was also identified as a strength. The professional development was noted as particularly helpful in professional learning communities in creating that model, that the structure that we use where there's consistent language, there's consistent vocabulary, and consistent expectations where folks can work together collaboratively across schools and benefit each other. The district's focus on increasing student discourse during instruction was prevalent, and they talked about the fact that we asked our educators to focus on student discourse last year and the year before because we recognize students have to develop academic language by talking to one another, by building that vocabulary. The challenge was that we didn't communicate the why real well, so there was lots of discussion around, we know we're doing it, we're just not sure all of the detail around the why. And that probably would have been an easy place for us to lean in and make sense of that for people because they understood the initiative, they understood being asked to do it, but the why behind it would have been a great connect to context of how they were teaching. And then all staff are familiar with the signature practices that are coming out of Ed Services, perceiving that that trifold is really helpful for new teachers. Some of the challenges. Teachers lack clarity and alignment across assessments, standard, and curriculum resources. One of the quotes from one of our teachers to Ms. Nicothodis was, does the district want us to teach curriculum resource, the standards, or the state test? Which lacks an understanding of the coherence of how those three things are aligned to one another. There was a lack of consistently posted standards across classrooms. We had their essential questions. There are learning takeaways, but to ground in the standards of what we expect kids to know and be able to do was not a consistent practice across our district. Our experienced teachers definitely perceive the signature practices as a checklist rather than a meaningful instructional tool. And we have a lack of practical tools for integrating college and career readiness across core content teachers. And what that says to me is, you know, when you think about the durable skills, and we think about what is it that we want kids to know and be able to do so that they have the knowledge and skills necessary to navigate their K-12 experience and be prepared for the choices they want to make as adults. As we think about that, we're looking through the lens of CTE in a really narrow way, rather than those college and career readiness skills should be applicable in all of our content area. We want to make sure the durable skills are embedded in English. The durable skills are embedded in math. The durable skills are a part of the science experience and not just something that we do within CTE. Because ultimately, part of that durable skills we talked about with our principals last month, there was a meta-analysis done looking at the durable skills where they examined over 83 million job postings in 7 different employment sectors across the country and worldwide actually. And as they looked at those durable skills, what they found was they were able to distill down what are the skills needed most often across all of those sectors. And the durable skills model is a reflection of all of those skills. And there are actually 5 that are considered to be these power skills that are needed and are often cited 10 times more than any of the other durable skills. And we've been using them here in this district for years. You're talking about communication, collaboration, critical thinking, creativity, and leadership. And what we see is our students are developing those in enrichment. Our students are developing those in their after-school activities. They're developing those through their CTE pathways. But we're not doing a job of embedding them in their everyday experience in every one of their core content classes. Thus, an opportunity for us to really rethink what the high school experience is going forward. Then the perception that we increased external course offerings and that online summer courses for first-time credit lack rigor and devalue the high school diploma. What we heard from talking to our educators was that they have concerns about students taking classes in the summertime and whether or not those courses have the same level of rigor as the classes that our students are taking during the academic school year. And then finally, major challenges due to reduced staffing for support for English language development. So finally, recommendations for next step. If we look at developing a multi-year instructional roadmap with clear implementation benchmarks for ongoing monitoring and adjustment, incorporating the feedback from a representative group of stakeholders, that's kind of the work that we need to identify and build out as a part of our strategic plan. Implementing a structured change management process to support successful adoption of new initiatives. We've got new adoption of language arts curriculum and math curriculum over the next few years. We've got to make sure that we've really thought deeply about change management so that we can set up our teachers for success, give them the tools they need and the support they need and the training they need. Foster a district culture that values continuous improvement and encourages open, honest dialogue about success and challenges. It's really hard to talk about what did we do well, what did we not do well, and where do we need to improve if we don't make it safe to do so. And that means we have to have the data tools in order for folks to look beyond just the dashboard that we get at the state level. It just doesn't go to the depth that we need it to. And then finally, establish formal and informal feedback loops between central office and school staff. That one specifically speaks to the hiring of our deputy superintendent and developing a culture where we're all one team, one student team that supports the student experience both academically as well as overall mental health and well-being, looking at student services. And then organizing my teams to consistently articulate a vision that's aligned with school needs and breaks down those silos. So finally, looking at standardizing data utilization, making sure we have the tools that we need to look at data, and then look at narrowing the focus. Our teachers asked us to really think about the initiatives and make sure that we dedicate the time, the energy, and the resources to implement well so that they're set up for success. And so our next step is, as we adopt curricular materials, we're going to think about this review of academic functions and ensure that we set up all of our processes and all of our changes and our strategic plan for success by looking at the feedback that we've been provided and really looking at change management and ensure that as we go forward, our teachers have the resources they need, the time they need, and our students get the best possible learning experience we can give them. So that's the review of academic functions.
That's great. Anybody have any comments? Or I'm looking forward to what this is going to look like in action. And the report that you're going to send later, the narrative and the detail. Yeah. So thank you so much for that.
Absolutely.
Okay, that next takes us to our state level budget overview, and you can remain there at the podium since you got this one too.
Perfect. So we started talking about this when I went to the first School Services of California professional learning session on the budget. It was my first experience to really get under the hood, so to speak, to really look at some of our state leaders talking about the budget. And it influences everything from the decisions we make about staffing, the decisions we make about curriculum adoption, the decisions we make at the bargaining table. And I just want to at least point some things out that we're seeing so that the board can follow along with us as we're following some of these trends. At the January state revenue was projected basically to be roughly $42.3 billion higher than the 2025 Budget Act. And so the governor's budget that he proposed for the 26-27 school year was making assumptions around moderate economic growth without a recession, really thinking about where are we going as a state, and it was based on personal income tax, sales tax, and corporate tax. And so certainly one of the things that they talked about over and over again in that meeting was the development and the growth of AI and whether or not it's going to have an influence on our state budget. And in fact, the other part of that is that the governor's budget proposal is higher than the LAO, the Legislative Analyst Office, their revenue projections. All that said, what became really interesting is, as of March, the cash flow at the state level is actually coming in a little stronger than even the governor projected. So general fund receipts right now are trending 6.9 billion higher than his January forecast, and personal income taxes coming in at about 4.6 billion above projection. So we're going to continue to watch that, because as you know, with all the things going on in the world, those things are going to roller coaster up and down over the next 6 months, and we're going to have to pay attention to that. But I wanted to point out kind of where that's all coming from, and that's the one pager that we put up there. My conclusion in that is PYL adopted a deficit budget for the 25-26 school year. Dr. Papalardo is going to talk about where we're trending as far as that budget goes in his second interim report. We also know that we have declining enrollment, and it is a likely influence over the next 3 years. So even with savings increases, with increased revenue, one-time spending, one-time block grant monies, we're going to have to be in reduction mode over the next 3 years, regardless of what our governor's telling us and regardless of what the LAO is telling us. And we're going to have to pay close attention to that so that we can adopt a budget that is as close to balance as is possible in our organization. So we're going to start with this as sort of the ground floor, and we're going to continue to bring you updates as we go along, not only as a part of the interim, but as we hear more from the economic forecast coming out of the state.
Okay, any comments, questions? All right, thank you again for that.
Speaking of AI, this looks like a Notebook LM worksheet that they probably made with AI. Just note.
Likely possible.
Notebook L. Okay.
Yeah, if you haven't used it, it's pretty great.
Okay, next we're going to general functions, and I'd like a motion first for 24.1.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the board superintendent working agreement.
I'll second.
Okay, motion and a second. I'll turn it over to Dr. Kim.
I just want to say thank you. I appreciate the time and energy that we put into the last meeting in our study session, and really thinking about how it is that I can support your needs and can support the district. And so the working agreement was a lot of help for me to be my roadmap. And so thank you for trusting me and entering into that conversation and helping create that. I look forward to working with it.
Okay, anybody have any comments, questions? Okay, with that, we'll take a vote. All those in... Yes?
Yes.
Okay. All right, you weren't fast enough.
I'm like, you are on fire.
I'm with you tonight, Carrie.
Okay, I was just looking at the second to the last paragraph where it says, when the board in its entirety receives an email, the superintendent will respond on behalf of the entire board and will share responses as per communication expectations outlined in this agreement. Could we just put in regularly scheduled board updates or something like that instead of referring, because there's lots of different communication methods that are explained, and so just changing that language to, in our regularly scheduled board updates or regularly scheduled communications, just something like that to clarify it.
Is that all?
That was it.
Great. Well, we did spend a lot of time working on this together, so it's a good note. So did you want to add any of that in? Is that something that we would bring back, or?
I can bring it back, or you guys can adopt it as amended, and I will go back and listen to the response of everything that she worded it. It's up to you.
Is everybody comfortable with that?
I'm shocked that this would not go to a second read. Absolutely shocked.
Well, we could bring it to a second read.
I was joking.
Well, we can.
No.
We just spent a lot of time on it, so I assumed we
had
were
a
there
whole
with it.
study session on it.
Yeah. So it was kind of like, this is the second round.
We were there.
Okay.
Okay.
I just want to make sure, because, be fair.
Good.
Okay, so we're going to amend it, and all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0, and an aye from Simran. Okay. Need a motion first for the CSBA Delegate Assembly.
I'd like to make a motion to vote on the CSBA Delegate Assembly for the California School Boards Association.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and second, so now let's talk about, we have 7 spaces to fill. Do you have any recommendations?
Well, I was going to recommend myself and you, Mrs. Buck, Carol Crane, Katie McGowan, Deanna Miller, and Barbara Schulman. I was going to do those 6.
Okay, and the reason why those 6, do you have any comments on that?
Just their experience and, their bios. We get lots of background information. And some of these I have met, and they're very active. And I appreciate their feedback.
I know all the ones that you mentioned. I haven't met Hector Bustos or Henry Charowin. Art Montez I have met before, but I haven't really worked with him, so
Yeah.
okay with that.
I didn't recommend any of those 3.
I did get an email from Anne Marie Randall Trejo
That's what I was
from
gonna
Anaheim
suggest.
Union, asking to be written in. She's been on delegate assembly before. She missed the deadline to submit. She's listed there before her term expires 2026, so I would recommend her as well.
Yeah, I was going to add that one as well.
I'm good with Anne Marie.
Either of you have any comments? No? Okay. Are we okay with the slate that we have listed here? So I'll read that again. Marilyn Anderson, Carrie Buck, Carol Crane, Katie McEwen, Deanna Miller, Barbara Schulman, and Anne Marie Randall Trejo. Okay, so with that, let's take a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And opposed?
Abstain.
Abstain.
Okay.
Aye.
Okay, so we have a 3 yes, a 2 abstain, and a 1 aye from our student board member. So that motion carries. Okay. All right, moving on. 24.3, our revised board bylaw 9323.
I'll make a motion to adopt revised board policy 9323, agenda and meeting materials.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Dr. Kim, I'll pass it for comments.
We did not make any changes from the last meeting, so I really don't have any at this time.
Okay. All right, so this is our second reading. Anybody else have any comments, concerns, questions? Okay, so we'll take a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Great. 5-0 and an aye from Severin. Okay, next is our board policy 1445, response to immigration enforcement. Second reading. Motion and a second, please.
I'll make a motion to adopt board policy 1445, response to immigration enforcement, second reading.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Mrs. Anderson, second by Mr. Frazier, and then I'll turn it over to Dr. Gray so that you can Dr. Kim to pass it along.
I will pass it over to Ms. Gray in just a moment. I just want to say a public thank you to Mr. DeMarco, who worked with Ms. Gray and Dr. Pedraza for quite a lengthy period of time to try to not only capture some of the recommendations that were made by board members as a part of the paragraph that you all really thought deeply about, but they were really helpful in helping to make some sense of that, and we tried to offer some amended language. But I'm going to hand it over to Ms. Gray because she really was instrumental in putting that together. So thank you to Ms. Gray as well.
Okay, thank you. So at the first reading on February 10th, board members had requested revisions to that specific paragraph that addressed how staff should respond if an immigration enforcement officer enters a non-public area of our district property. So there was concern raised that the language maybe lacked sufficient clarity regarding staff direction and safety and maybe the way it could be interpreted. So in response to that, we've revised it, as Dr. Kim said, with the help of Tony DeMarco. So with your permission, I can read the proposed revised paragraph, or you can just discuss it, whatever you decide.
Sure, go ahead and read it for us.
Okay. Alrighty. So the revised paragraph is as follows: except as described above, district employees are not authorized or permitted to participate in law enforcement activities related to immigration enforcement actions. District employees are also prohibited from physically blocking, obstructing, or otherwise engaging in actions that are either intended to or have the effect of interfering with or impeding the actions of law enforcement. In the event such an activity occurs on district property, at a district-sponsored event, or on district-provided transportation, staff shall refrain from involvement and promptly notify the superintendent or designee or site administration as appropriate.
And Tony's okay with all this?
Yes.
Good.
Yep.
My only comment was, this paragraph is kind of redundant. Basically, we say the same thing 3 times. Could we possibly remove, the examples, where the district employees are prohibited from physically blocking, obstructing, or otherwise engaging in actions that are either intended to or have the effect of interfering with impeding actions of law enforcement? And then we could just put those kind of specific instructions in an AR.
That's what we had from in the first place. Though, so what was the point of the rewrite?
Yeah.
If you take out the specific instructions, which you asked for, then we're back with initially what was said in the part we took out.
Bless you.
Well,
I'm
we got rid
confused.
of the however, which made it sound like we're allowing immigration enforcement in. That's
But
how
we're
I
not
read it.
stopping them.
We can't stop
Right,
them.
correct.
Right. So,
I
but
just-
it's.
What's the, why are you concerned about the specifics?
I just thought it was redundant because you have the first part and then you repeat it again about district-sponsored events and transportation, and again it says staff shall not refrain.
That's what David Radler said to you guys in the last meeting. He said that this paragraph was redundant. And so I don't really trust David Radler. I trust Tony DeMarco.
Okay. I know.
Well, and the only thing I would say is the specifics are helpful. The only thing I would say in line with a little bit of what you're saying is, if there is an incident that's not listed, make sure that it's clear that in no way, even if it's not listed, do we get involved.
Right. And I really like the part where it says, we're going to notify, the
Yeah, always
superintendent.
notify, right.
Yeah. And the superintendent.
I just think this is probably the best way to do this. Working with the attorneys and back and forth, and you guys asked for clarity, so
It's up to you guys.
I'm good with it.
So I do have something to point out though. Dr. Kim, did we ever in the policy or in the resolution from last time, was there ever anything that gave ICE an open door to come onto our campuses and take away children and take away families or do anything like that?
The previous policy, the way it was written, did state clearly that schools were to be safe campuses. Schools were to be safe places. This policy was designed, or my understanding in terms of the change in legislation, this policy was designed to add family members and to add staff members, but not to take away any of the context of, we still believe that schools needed to be safe spaces for kids.
Right.
And that's what the policy originally, at least my understanding was.
And the policy did lie in the student section before about what we do to help students, but now it's spread to how we respond if and in the event this does happen. So it moved to the thousands.
Right.
About how we're supposed to
But
respond.
it never changed, it changed that part, but it never changed any way of law enforcement entering our campuses. Nothing was changed.
This is not an invitation, is what you're saying.
Exactly. So my question is this, because I think I think that this is I think that this was very irresponsible, and I think it was an injustice to our community for the district not to put out, when all of this nonsense went out on social media saying that this was an open door for ICE to come onto our campuses and ICE can come on and take kids and stuff, and the district was just silent as we had all these social media groups stirring up trouble, stirring up walkouts by promoting fake information and false information. I mean, like, now you're hearing the actual information. Had a letter been sent home that said, this has been circulating, and this is the true, and this is correct about the policy, and this is what's stated, this is coming from the state.
Yeah, it's a state requirement.
Because, I mean, look at, like, how embarrassing for these people from the last board meeting who came up and absolutely misquoted the policy, actually said that ICE could come onto our campuses willy-nilly and take kids. And then here they are saying that the Heritage Foundation is bringing forth this policy, or I'm bringing forth a policy, when this is mandated by the state. So we have all these people up here with so much misinformation. We have our students, we have faculty, we have the community members completely buying into fake social media who are just trying to stir up problems, and yet the district was silent. And all of these families who came, we had a lot of parents coming who were fearful because they really thought this was happening, and yet the district was silent and allowed this to happen. And so I think it's completely irresponsible, and I think we owe the community and our families a letter of apology, and also some type of statement that actually says what the policy was about, and that ICE could never come onto our campuses, as people were stating. And the silence from the district was just, I'm sorry, that was completely irresponsible.
My experience from the last board meeting was different. This response to immigration enforcement comes from the state, yes, but the people that were coming to talk were talking about a resolution that was going beyond this, and did include ICE. So it was different.
No, it did not. It did
This
not
one here
include ICE.
in the first sentence says the governing board is committed to the success of all students and believes that every school site should be a safe and welcoming place for all students and their families, irrespective of citizenship or immigration status. I know that was a concern that someone had. The one thing that I noticed here, that I also, that was mentioned about coming on to property, it doesn't really, in the second page, there's the sentence that starts, or the paragraph starts, the superintendent or designee shall report to the board in a timely manner any request by an officer or employee of an agency conducting immigration enforcement of any of the following, for education records, for personnel records, to enter a school bus or any transportation non-public area. That, because it was looped in with school bus, other transportation, non-public area of the district, non-public area of district-sponsored program, all of that looped together, I felt maybe wasn't as clear as transportation and campuses, but it is included in there, so that does qualify it. And we did have some addition where, at the last meeting, where we were adding in the teachers and the staff shall be trained on what the requirements are. We would never put anybody in harm's way, so we don't want anybody to do that. But we want to make sure that our schools are safe and welcoming. So I think this incorporates it. The redundancy, I'm okay with, because it just helps clarify it a little bit more, as not as clear as it could be. I mean, it is a legal piece, so there is going to be some legalese in there. So the more we can clarify, the better, which I think comes from our administrative regulations too, and then our training that's set up for all of our staff.
I think the important piece to all of this is the communication, that this was not just something that was brought because somebody wanted to bring an immigration policy, but it was set down from the state to say this is a requirement, and then we were going to decide how we decided to handle it. And the assumption in the public was that that had nothing to do with it. So I think the communication was extremely lacking, and I think it would have created a lot of confusion and maybe not have required as much law enforcement last month if we had been clear from the district to say that, look, this is a state requirement. We have to do this. This is not something that's an individual bringing to the table. We had conversations, we made some adjustments and changes, and the attorneys were driving this whole thing. So I think just we need to be better from the district level, communicating that to make sure that the public's aware of what the truth is, because the propaganda machine is insane, and it's very easy to get manipulated by what's out there right now. So I would encourage us to be more clear when things like this come up, to say, hey, this is not a band of rogue individuals trying to make something crazy. We're doing what's legally required, and it's being driven by attorneys, so.
And the resolution also did not allow ICE to come onto the campuses. The resolution was supporting and cooperating with law enforcement. It did not talk about ICE coming onto campuses and taking children. And so that is another false statement. But so, and another thing too is Tony DeMarco read the resolution, and he agreed that it could coincide with the board policy. So, I mean, and the sad thing too is that we actually kind of had a Brown Act violation because of the way that the resolution was not presented, and how you presented a second resolution with crossed out lines and all that other nonsense that went on. But I do think that was, I mean, like, look at what happened in the community, and these kids too. It was really funny. I've had some Chapman students, they called for an interview and they said, we looked at the board policy and we looked at the resolution, and we can't find out anywhere where ICE is coming onto campuses. And we're like, it's an open gate. They go, and I said, that's because there is none. And so they said the same thing. What a propaganda machine this was. How come this wasn't clarified? I had El Dorado students reaching out, Valencia students reaching out, all these students reaching out going, where is this that says that ICE can come onto campuses? Where is it that says? And I said, it doesn't. And they go, so we've been played. Yes, you guys have all been played. And so I think that, like, I'm just going to just say this. It was irresponsible of us to allow this to rise to the level and not give our community the appropriate information.
I just want to say that if we were to, as a school district, monitor social media and try to respond to every misinformation that's out there, I think that's all we would be doing, and not running the school district as it should be. But on the other hand, I believe that the concerns that the community brought are valid. Obviously, if there is a warrant, an illegal warrant that's been served, that obviously the office and the district would enforce it as stated as in the board policy. However, there have been instances where there have not been warrants, and I think that's where the concern from the community is coming from. And when individuals are not named in warrants and this is happening to them, I think this is when, like I said, stirred the concern, and it's a valid concern. And I mean, if our community is concerned about it, then it's something we should look at and not dismiss as being misinformation or not a valid concern, because obviously there was strong enough sentiment at the last meeting, whether people feel it was just or justified or not, that it's something we should be looking at. And I appreciate that we changed the however in the board policy to be a little bit more specific and to take that away, because like I said before, the however almost contradicted the rest of it, and I think that's what a lot of the community saw. It's like we're saying what we can't do, but then however is almost saying we can do those things. So I think that's where a lot of the misinterpretation came. But again, if that paragraph stirred up that much emotion, I think it's something valid that we should be looking at.
Because it was misinterpreted, that it was brought by an individual, not that it was state mandated. That's the entire part of this that's a problem, is that it wasn't communicated that this was a requirement. And then propaganda was run off of, oh, they're going to bring ICE into schools. That's not what's happening. And I would love to know what incidents you're talking about where ICE has gone into schools without warrants and taken children.
I'm just saying schools.
Oh, you're not saying schools?
I'm saying
Okay, all right.
general that there have been incidences where warrants have not been served to people. They've been working their regular jobs and they've been
Perfect.
taken away.
So-
if that's happening, why are
So,
parents
Tricia,
not afraid
let's
of
be
that happening
honest.
at schools?
Tricia, let's be honest.
If it's happening
So
one
not
place,
in
it can happen
schools.
Let's
somewhere else.
take have one person speak at a time, so we're not speaking over each other.
But she just continues to talk, and she's...
And Todd, you interrupted, so.
Because she was saying things that weren't true. I said, let's be honest. You're not talking about it being in schools.
So you can make those comments during your time. Let's take one at a time so we can get there.
We're done. I understand that you guys totally disagree and that the propaganda machine is strong. We would like more facts given from the district level about what's happening in instances like this, where we had to have extra law enforcement on site because there was information that was sent to Kim about potential issues because of the propaganda. So I'm just saying, there are real things that are happening around us, and the statements that you just made, Tricia, about, well, it does happen when there's not warrants, but it's not schools you're talking about. We have to be consistent with what we're talking about, and that's the problem, and it runs away. So I'm ready to vote for this.
Okay, I just want to put in my 2 cents here. I think my experience last month at the board meeting was clear. People didn't really have a problem with the policy. They had the problem with the resolution. And there was a resolution that was posted I think like 2 weeks before, and it had a lot of things in it. Then what was posted in the agenda was definitely different and tapered down.
It changed from ICE to law enforcement, to federal law enforcement. Those were the changes, Marilyn.
I think she means your first and second
That
iterations.
was all that changed.
There was a lot of changes, and also, excuse me.
Hey, well, you're accusing me of something. That's all
No,
that changed.
I'm just saying this is what caused the community to get outraged. They read your original, and then the board agenda came out, which was different. And by then, people were already worked up. So I don't really think the district is responsible for that communication fallacy. And then also, you quoted the, in your resolution, you put in that district staff shall not obstruct, interfere with, but you didn't put the however, you didn't put in that we are not allowed to solicit or collect. You didn't put in that we're not allowed to seek or require information. You did not put in there that we are not to give education records or personnel records or anything like that. You didn't put any protections. And
Because the policy states that. This is a resolution, and Tony DeMarco approved it. So are you smarter than our attorney?
I'm just saying this is what
Okay.
caused people to get upset.
So you know this, right?
That is what people expressed to me.
Okay.
And then you keep reiterating that ICE has never been on our campuses, which is a true statement.
Thank you. It is a true statement.
But,
No, there is no
yes,
but.
there is a but.
No, there's not.
There is a but. But ICE has been in our communities. It has affected our families dramatically, and you can't just dismiss that.
I'm not dismissing it. However, I did call over to Placentia City Council, and we also called over the Placentia Police Department, and they are not, they're disputing what you're saying. They're saying that you are not being factual. If you're talking about normal police officers going out of the community, and we
No,
have,
I'm talking about
and we have
ICE
illegal
officers.
and we have illegal immigrants who don't want to speak and take reports because of their immigration status. That happens all over the place. But I called over there and I said, I played them what you said at the board meeting, and they said, "What is she talking about?"
That is not what I heard, and I spoke to several
There's a
police
lot of
officers.
hearsay.
There's a lot of hearsay. And I think it's time.
I think it's time for a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Abstain.
Okay, motion carries 5-0 and an abstention from our student board member. Okay, moving on to board policy 6171.5. Can I have a motion and a second, please?
I'll make a motion to adopt revised board policy 6171.5, individual education program, first reading.
Second.
Okay, motion and a second. Dr. Kim, pass to you for comments.
I'm going to hand this one over to Ms. Gray because it is a first reading and her team did the work on this one.
Okay, thank you very much. So Board Policy 6171.5, Individualized Education Program, IEP, outlines the district's approach to implementing IEPs under the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act. So since that time, in 2003, when our last policy was created, state and federal laws and guidance have evolved, including requirements related to a free and appropriate public education, least restrictive environment, procedural safeguards, parent rights, and self-governance. So tonight you're going to hear the proposed revisions, updated policy, and the alignment to the current legal requirements and Ed Code. These updates maintain the policy's original intent while reinforcing the district's commitment to equitable access and positive outcomes for our students with disabilities. So our special education director, Ms. Jamie Nash, will provide additional details regarding the proposed updated policy.
Good evening. Okay, good evening, President Buck, members of the board, Superintendent Dr. Kim LeBlanc Esparza, and members of Executive Cabinet. Tonight we are presenting the first reading of the revisions to Board Policy 6171.5, Individuals Education Program. And as Renee mentioned, the current policy was adopted in 2003, and since then there's been revisions to policy, and most notably the reauthorization of the Individuals with Education Act of IDEA in 2004. And with that reauthorization, it really emphasized students that are eligible for special education services that are entitled to a free and appropriate education, or FAPE, in the least restrictive environment, with ensuring they have access to general education curriculum, also parental rights. The policy language has also been updated to align with California Ed Code. So for example, you'll see terminology now to reflect individuals with exceptional needs. And also the policy has been reorganized in a framework. So it starts with the board's commitment, then state and SELPA legal requirements, and then clarifies the district, site, and IEP's team's responsibilities. So the proposed revisions, they don't change the direction of the policy, but rather ensure that the current law and best practices in special education and programming are reflected, as well as reinforcing the district's commitment to access, independence, and meaningful outcomes for students. So those are some highlights, and thank you, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
I just have one little add-in word at the very, very beginning where it starts Board of Education. If you would put in the Board of Education or the PYL USD Board of Education.
Absolutely.
But I like the updates, and I'm glad we're in compliance and have all of the inclusions we need to.
I thought it was a good policy, very thorough. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, with that, we'll take a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0 and a +1 from Simran. Okay, so next we're at our action items for business services, and Dr. Papalardo is going to address both of the items as one, but we're going to start with a motion first. Should we take a motion for both of them, or? Okay, let's take
I'll make a motion to approve 25.1 and 25.2.
Second.
Perfect. Dr. Papalardo, over to you.
Thank you very much. Good evening, President Buck, members of the Board of Trustees, including our student board member, Superintendent Dr. Kim, staff, and guests. Tonight I will be presenting the second interim report of the Placentia-Yorba Unified School District. Before I get into it, I just want, because I rarely do this at the end, I really want to thank everybody in the district who's worked on this, everybody who works for the district. You all have a piece of the budget somehow, especially our management team, our principals, district staff, educational services, student support, HR, where 85% of our money is spent. Thank you, everybody, for your support. Thank you for your dedication to the district, and thank you for your watching our budget, because it really helps. And lastly, I want to thank Fong Tran, our Director of Fiscal Services. She is responsible for the finances in the district in putting it together and getting our SACS reports and everything updated and to the County Office of Ed. So I'll start with that, and I'll move on to our topics of discussion for tonight. Our the second interim financial report, our assumptions, our general fund, other funds, which includes OCSCS, which we're talking about within this presentation, some budget challenges, what is a second interim report certification, and lastly, our next steps. So moving into it, I just have a little description of what's unrestricted revenues versus restricted revenues, which we'll talk about a little later. But the unrestricted revenues are only in our general fund 01, which also has restricted revenues, and then 09, our charter school OCSCS. So it includes, it's the general money is used for our operational purposes. It includes all of our local control funding, revenues, state lottery revenues, unrestricted, local revenues, interest incomes, spent on all of staffing, personnel, utilities, and the like. And then the goal every year for the unrestricted is not to spend more than you're bringing in. When you do, it's called deficit spending, and we'll see a little bit of that in a minute here. But first, some of our assumptions on our multi-year projections. As we know, salaries, any salary increases, salary negotiations are not included in the budget or any of the 2 subsequent years. They're pending. Our statutory COLA for this year is 2.3%. That was set last May of 2025. Oops, I slipped 2 decades. Then next year, 26-27 will be set this coming May at right now estimated 2.41%. We'll know in the middle of May exactly what that number will be, and then projected into 27-28, 3.06%. Our enrollment, you can see there, is declining. Why are we declining? Because it's a lower birth rate than we've ever had. 1990 was a peak at about 21 births per 1,000 residents in California. Today we're about 10.2 births. So yeah, people are having less kids, about half as many as they were having in the 90s. Our attendance rate we're using is 94.5%. We'll talk about that in a moment. Health and welfare benefit increase costs. This year we saw 7.1%. Next year we're projecting 8%, and the following year 8%. And next year's number 26.7 is coming in right about that. And then our supplemental early retirement program, we're showing next year and the following year about $2.4 million in net savings. The savings are actually more, but then we have to pay people to leave. Yeah, that's how it works. So that's the net number that we're using. So as we look at our multi-year projections, this year, second interim report, we're looking at almost $250 million in revenues, a little over $260 million in expenses. About that number's red in the middle there with parentheses, so that's a negative 11 million. You just take the first number, subtract the second number, it's negative, so that's called deficit spending. We had a beginning balance this year on July 1st of 2025 of $66.5 million. Add a negative number to that and you come up with $55.3 million. So now we just roll those numbers over. Next year, projecting about little over $250 million with the cost of living adjustment, 2.41% plus the declining enrollment. That's the number we're projecting at this time. Expenses about $264 million. There's that negative number again, $14.3 million as a deficit spending next year. So you can see there the ending balance of last year, 25-26, becomes a beginning balance in 26-27 of $55 million. Add to that the negative in the year with $40 million. And the following year, 27-28, you can see those numbers there, about $15 million, starting the year with $40.9 million, ending the year with $25.8 million. So the one thing that 26-27, these are with those few assumptions we had before, the governor on January 10th is making making his recommendations of a large one-time block grant for next year. That number will be, that amount of money will be very flexible for school districts. Our goal is to utilize it for increased costs. That's going to be about $11 million. But at this time, nobody's budgeting it for next year because the governor, it hasn't been approved yet. So in June, we'll know what the actual assumptions are. So that's going to give us some relief for the 26-27 school year. So that's a little bit of where we are right now as of today. Components of the ending fund balance, there's a restricted dollars. You can see there beginning the year with $55 million, and then I'm sorry, ending the year with the $55 million, and that's in addition to that, we have restricted funds within the general fund, projected ending balance of about $26 million for a total of $81 million. But we know that significant deficit spending may occur, it may not, which is what our goal is. This is one snapshot of Fund 9 within the interim report, the 126 pages that we have. That looks like this. In here is Fund 9, which is our Orange County School of Computer Science, and that shows their LCFF revenues. This number hasn't changed a whole lot from first interim. The fourth line there transfers in from the general fund $1.2 million. That could be considered deficit spending, but the way it works, we don't call it that. So this is where our fund for that one school looks like. Restricted revenues. General fund, we know special education, we know the title programs from the federal government, Title 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and other restricted funds, one-time monies from the state to the extent that they are restricted. And then there's the rest of our funds. We'll look at their numbers in a minute. Our child development, before and after school programs, expanded learning, nutrition services is in a separate fund, deferred maintenance capital facilities fund from developer fees, special reserve for capital outlay, and then our self-insurance fund where we have all of our work comp and property and liability insurances running through. So those are all the restricted. So we have one-time grants currently, a couple of them expiring there. You can see the educator effectiveness grant, $5.1 million needs to be spent by the end of this year, June 30th. Arts, music, instructional block grant ending this year, and then a couple ongoing in the next couple of years, learning recovery and student support and professional development block grant. So we see those. There's a couple ongoing, the expanded learning opportunities program. The governor is projecting, the governor has suggested he'd like to see that grant dollars for people in Tier 2, which is us, be increased. So do we. So about $8.2 million. Prop 28 passed by the voters in California. 1% of the general fund going to arts, music, and education. That's of the state's general fund. For us, it's about $3.8 million. This is a listing of all of our other funds. ASB is only reported at the end of the fiscal year. We don't do it mid-year. The schools are all running it. We put it all in at one time. Child development, you can see there, cafeteria fund, beginning balance of $19 million. The operating revenues expenses about 15.5. Of that, about $7 million is in salaries. The balance is in food and other things. There's some kitchen infrastructure grant in there that needs to be spent for capital outlay purposes. Capital facilities fund, the capital outlay that pays the district's certificates of participation, bond insurance, bond, Fund 40, Fund 51 is the county runs that fund. It's for paying off it's for paying off general obligation bonds, GO bonds, and then the self-insurance fund you can see there is mostly passed through. That $16 million in the bottom right-hand corner is basically what our runoff for our workers' compensation claims are. A few years ago, we went to a fully insured program. Prior to that, we were self-insured. So that $16 million is for those self-insured claim years going forward. What are we looking at ahead? fairly low cost of living adjustments compared to years past. Declining enrollment is the bane of many districts' existence at this time, including the state, which is declining enrollment. First time ever the past few years now. Our attendance rates pre-COVID, back 10, 12 years ago, 2013, 14 was running about 97.4%. We're at 94.5%, and I think that's up from about 91 post-COVID that first year. So we're slowly but surely climbing back out. Remember, we only get paid when a student attends. We only get paid when the student attends.
Can you tell us what 1% equals, like for enrollment? If we were to increase that by 1%, what would that calculation be? Yes, in attendance, ADA. So about $500,000, 2.5 million for 1%. 1%.
1%, 1.8 million.
1.8.
Wait. Let me verify that number. I'm verifying it in 3, 2, 1. LCF. 2.7.
Okay.
2.8? Did you say 2.8, Dr. Kim?
So it matters. Make sure that our kids get to school.
$2.8 million, 1%. And that is a student who attends any part of an instructional day. If your child has a doctor's appointment, bring them before or after the doctor. Well, depending on what they have. Let's increase that enrollment and increase that attendance. Yeah. Any part of the day, we get paid. Anyway, health and welfare benefit premiums, we saw those going up. Step and column adjustments every year. The California economy is booming right now. The governor's been saying this year we're looking great, next year's not looking so great, and then next year looks pretty good. And then this year's looking great, and next year maybe not, but yeah, it is. When is that .com bust? When is that AI bubble bust going to come? We know that in the past 20 years, we saw 2000, the .com bust, put us into a little bit of recession. 2008 was a whole bunch of other things. We're waiting for that. It may not happen for a few years. We don't know. But we'll see it coming, we think, because California is such a large economy, fourth in the world. We always lag behind the rest of our country in recession. We'll see the rest of the country in a recession, and we'll be going, hey, everything's great here, and then it'll hit us. So we see it coming. So as soon as you see the rest of the country, unemployment increasing, costs increasing, revenues decreasing, and things getting tough, and the rest of the country, we know that we're usually in the 12 to 18 months behind the rest of the country. That's just how our economy works. For the last 80 years, it could be different this time. We don't know. Anyway, so that's what we're looking at because we are funded by the state. And as the state coffers go, we go, is how it works. So fiscal solvency statement, I'm not going to read it. We are going to report a positive certification. We will maintain our required reserves for the next 3 years. We know what we have to do. The board has seen it. Administration has seen it. We've seen those red numbers. We know we're going to have some work to do over the next couple years in right-sizing our budget. Reductions, we're aware of that. Interim report certification options, 3 options: positive, qualified, negative. Positive means we will meet our financial obligations for the current and the 2 subsequent fiscal years. Qualified says we may not meet them for the current or the 2 subsequent fiscal years, and negative means we will be unable to meet our financial obligations in the current or subsequent years. We're at positive. I'm recommending positive. Superintendent recommending. We're recommending positive certification. So next steps. Oh, you are here in that little color box there on March 15th. We'll wait for the May revise that comes out about the 12th or the 13th of May. We'll have our budget done, one public hearing, one adoption, 2 board meetings in June, August. If there's any big changes to the state budget, 45 days after we adopt our budget, we'll do an update. September 15th always closes this fiscal year, and then first interim on the 15th, state budget next January, and we'll be right back here a year from now with second interim report for 26-27. So that's a year in review. Any questions?
I just have kind of a statement. I just want to thank everybody for pulling this together. It's a lot of work and it's a lot of information, and I'm really grateful in our fiscal solvency statement where it talks about how we, the things that the proactive steps the district has made to reduce our deficit spending. So I'm thankful for everybody that's worked hard to make these happen. I know this is a lot of work, but our reserves are, give me some caution of concern. And we've been able to manage this time because we had a large reserve. And so I'd like to emphasize and put on the record that when funding improves, that I hope we will prioritize rebuilding our reserves to help protect the district from the next economic uncertain times that will come in the future, because it will. So I just want to make sure we rebuild that and make that a priority. So, thank you.
Thank you. I agree.
Anybody else? All right, with that, let's take a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, motion carries 5-0 with an aye from Simran.
Thank you.
Okay, now we're to action items, Ed Services. Motion first for 26.1.
I'll make a motion to approve the K-5 English Language Arts Curriculum Adoption Wonders with McGraw-Hill to include Wonders ELA and Integrated ELD Wonders for English Learners, Designated ELD Curriculum, Maravillas DLA English Language Arts Curriculum, and the WonderWorks Reading Intervention Program.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Dr. Kim, I'll let you pass it on.
I want to start out by saying thank you to Dr. Leon for the work that she has done as a part of this process. We've talked a lot this evening about the extensive work that it takes to do so many of these things at a systemic level or at a full-scale implementation level, and the ELA curriculum is one of the heaviest lifts that you can do in a school district because it really does touch all of our students, and there are a lot of components to teaching a student to read. Dr. Leon has engaged teachers throughout our district to get feedback, to have folks help with piloting, and then we made the curriculum material available for folks to look at. It has been a really extensive process, so I want to thank you for the time and energy you put into making this happen and to being really thoughtful about the decisions we make, because teaching a kid to read is one of the biggest gatekeepers that we do for students in order to open the door for success later in life.
Thank you, Dr. Kim, and I agree, having been a second grade teacher myself. So good evening, President Buck, board members, Superintendent Dr. Kim. Tonight I'm proud to bring forward a recommendation for the adoption of our new K-5 English Language Arts and English Language Development core curriculum. Wonders by McGraw-Hill, including Maravillas for our Dual Language Academy and WonderWorks for intervention used by our special education team. This recommendation is a result of a year-long, transparent, and highly collaborative process grounded in student outcomes and district priorities. Our current ELA and ELD curriculum was adopted in 2017. While state standards have not changed, our students have evolved. We now have greater clarity about the California English Learner Roadmap, a required early reading screener in grades K through 2nd, and deeper understanding of the importance of systematic foundational skills instruction. Over time, our educators have identified gaps in differentiation, support for multilingual learners, and embedded foundation literacy instruction. Tonight's recommendation is about ensuring every student in PYL-USD receives strong, explicit, equitable literacy instruction from the very beginning. This was not a quick decision. The process began in March of 2025 with the formation of a steering committee. Over the course of the year, various publishers presented. 2 programs were selected for pilot. Teachers implemented materials in real classrooms. Students, teachers, and caregivers provided structured feedback following each pilot. Next, Curriculum Council reviewed the findings and unanimously recommended Wonders before the curriculum was placed on the 30-day public display. This multi-phase process was deliberate, representative of PYL-USD, inclusive, transparent, and data-informed. Teachers reported that our current ELA benchmark adoption, approved in 2016 and 2017, 10 years ago, presents challenges that include phonics instruction. The current program separates phonics from core instruction, and there are superficial interdisciplinary connections. Differentiation challenges because it does not consistently support differentiation for multilingual learners and students with disabilities. And implementation requires heavy supplementation. Our data trends indicate that although we are proud of the elementary level SBAC overall results, we've seen modest gains in SBAC ELA for grades 3 through 5 over recent years, and achievement gaps continue to persist. We need a core program that embeds daily foundational skills, supports multilingual learners explicitly, and equips teachers with coherent, usable instructional routines. Wonders addresses these needs directly. Our K-5 pilot team included 37 teachers representing 15 elementary schools, Title I school sites, special education, and our dual language academy. Evaluation tools included adoption criteria aligned to district priorities, teacher surveys, student surveys, caregiver surveys, student work samples, and public feedback. This was comprehensive, it was balanced, and it centered on the classroom experience. The team reviewed Benchmark Advance, Benchmark Adelante, Benchmark Steps to Advance, as well as Wonders, Maravillas, and WonderWorks. After a side-by-side comparison using district criteria, Wonders consistently rose to the top. Teachers described it as engaging, teacher-friendly, rigorous, and supportive of diverse learners. The committee recommends a 6-year adoption of Wonders, Maravillas, and WonderWorks with full implementation beginning in the 2026-2027 school year. Wonders provides explicit, systematic foundational skills instruction grounded in the science of reading. It includes integrated and designated ELD supports aligned to the EL roadmap. The curriculum has built-in differentiation pathways, coherent instructional routines that reduce teacher burden, and has high student engagement. This is not simply a curriculum purchase, it's an investment in literacy equity. We surveyed 410 students across grade levels. Students reported growth in summarizing, identifying themes, citing evidence, and understanding civic responsibility. They appreciated collaborative work, engaging stories, and real-world connections. While some noted an increase in writing load and passage length, overall lesson interest was strong, scoring a 2.83 average, with the majority reporting a score of a 3 on a 4-point scale. When asked about text difficulty, the ideal average is 2.5 on a 4.5 scale, indicating the text is just right. The student average was 2.34. Finally, when asked to rate the lessons, the majority of students selected a 3 on a 4-point scale. Most importantly, students were thinking deeply and discussing meaningfully according to teacher observations. Teacher feedback was especially compelling. Of the 37 teachers who participated in the pilot, 27 responded to the survey. The average engagement rating was 3.70 out of 4, indicating a high level of student interest and involvement. Teachers consistently reported strong student buy-in, clear instructional structure, effective support for multilingual learners and students with IEPs, and rigorous and culturally relevant text. When asked about text difficulty, again, the ideal average is 2.5 on a 4-point scale, indicating the text is just right. Teachers' consensus was 2.37. Finally, when rating the lesson on a 4-point scale, the majority of teachers selected excellent, with an average of 3.59. One teacher shared, "My students really loved it. Student buy-in is so important. We know that when teachers feel confident and supported, students succeed." Caregivers also responded positively. The majority agreed that lessons were meaningful, students had opportunities to read, to write, and discuss, and they observed growth in vocabulary and reading confidence at home. Only one comment was received during the 30-day public display. The question posed addressed access to student consumables, which they do, and the feedback welcomed a stronger emphasis on phonemic awareness and word work, which it does. Overall, the community response was supportive. This adoption directly supports our current LCAP goals, including increasing English language arts achievement, accelerating multilingual learner progress, and reducing California dashboard achievement gaps. Wonders aligns with the California State ELA and ELD standards, the California English Learner Roadmap, and the Science of Reading. With strong implementation and consistency, this curriculum positions us to strengthen early literacy and long-term outcomes. The cost of the adoption is $2,908,284, funded through restricted lottery funds specifically focused on instructional materials. Student consumables for the full 6 years are included in the initial adoption cost. Lottery funds will cover replacement due to lost or damaged items. This is a strategic and sustainable investment using these fiscal resources directly linked to instructional materials. Our goal is to train all K through 5 teachers before the end of the 2025-2026 school year, and we will ensure all teachers are trained before the start of the year. We want to be able to set up everyone for success. August makeup sessions will be provided as needed, and ongoing professional learning will occur throughout the years and based on teachers' needs. We will monitor implementation through a 6-week cycle of teacher surveys and additional ongoing support structures. Curriculum adoptions do not improve outcomes. Implementation and consistency do. We are committed to both. The K through 5 ELA Adoption Committee and Curriculum Council recommends an adoption of Wonders, Maravillas, WonderWorks for a 6-year adoption cycle with full implementation in the 2026-2027 school year. This recommendation reflects classroom evidence, teacher expertise, student voice, community input, and alignment with district goals. This is about giving every child in PYL-USD the literacy foundation they deserve. I am proud of our Ed Services team and our classroom teachers who collaborated in this process to bring forward this recommendation. We respectfully request your approval. Thank you, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
I don't have any questions, but I really enjoyed reviewing these textbooks, and I was just really blown away by all the phonics lessons, the phonemic work. There's just the variety of the different things that were included. And the other thing that really impressed me was for English language learners. This is the first time I've seen in a textbook where they recognize that not all English language learners are at the same space. So they had, ideas to incorporate it, but then they also had ideas for more advanced students. And I really like that differentiating. And they also had lessons for the general population, like coming to grade level at level and beyond to help. So I loved all that incorporation in them. And it was really fun. As I've been on campuses, I've kind of asked, I'm like, so did you pilot the new thing, and everyone was very positive. They were really excited about this opportunity, and it was just fun to hear the feedback of the excitement for this program and how it's going to make a difference in our students. So
I agree. Thank you for taking the time to take a look at it. And during site visits myself, I've had kids come up to me and tell me, is this going to be our new reading? Is this going to be our new reading books? And the teachers have also shared in those site visits that they appreciate having the flexibility to differentiate for students, especially for English language learners, and the support resources that come for long-term English learners. So, thank you.
I just wanted to say I was excited as well to see all the different scaffolding methods that they had, and also that things are embedded in, like the ELD lessons, so it's not something above and beyond that teachers have to do. Obviously, there's other lessons that you would do as well, but how much is incorporated into and embedded into the program, so it's almost like a natural flow to do all the lessons. And I was going to say, the student engagement piece of being really high is half the battle, I think. So that's great that it had a great student engagement rate as well.
I agree. We want them to read and love to read.
My question is just around training and making sure that we have all of our teachers prepared before the beginning of the school year, looking at a shorter summer, and what does that look like for teachers, and is there flexibility with that? We want to make sure it's adopted quickly, but also understand that there might be challenges to that.
Absolutely. And so our training is going to start as soon as the board approves. And so we have sessions already set up for April, May, and June. And then coming back, we will have refresher trainings as well. But we want to make sure that all of our teachers in this first training get to see the teacher editions, the materials that are presented, the introduction that the McGraw-Hill staff will do. And we listened very carefully to feedback that we received from our association as well, to let us know that our teachers want to have a common understanding of the science of reading, but then also have applicable materials to start week 1. And so one of the feedbacks that we also got is to get more teacher input, which we are setting up a website where there will be resources and links for Wonders and Maravillas and Wonderworks as well, but also to survey the teachers every 6 weeks about what their needs are for professional development. And so as we work with McGraw-Hill to set up those professional developments, they are very open to being collaborative in the process of like what we need and want. And so we also heard from our teachers that they want to have a ready to go make and take lessons, like how do I embed this week 2, week 3, and so we're interested in helping to support our teachers with that as well. And so we've set up systems in place, not just the website, but we're also going to have our teacher on special assignment take a look at the Google forms that are submitted by our teachers to answer questions from the get-go, and have an FAQ area where our teachers can ask questions. So we really want to be very responsive to their needs.
Thank you. I think the more proactive we can be, the better off that the implementation will be, and setting them up for success, especially in those early weeks when everything is hitting at the same time. Mm-hmm. So thank you for that, and I just encourage you to keep that as a priority.
Will do.
And I just wanted to add to it, since you mentioned the science of reading, that I was excited to see that it is embedded, because I know some of our teachers have already been trained in science of reading. So to add that expertise to the program would be wonderful.
Thank you. And they actually wrote an article. So they provided an article to us about the direct links that Wonders has with the science of reading. And so happy to share that with you too if you'd like to see it.
Oh, that's great. Okay. With that, let's take a vote. All those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
All right, motion carries 5-0 with an aye from the student board member. Okay, moving to human resources. So I'll take a motion first, and I'll read this and then take those motions. I guess I'll make the motion. I would like to make a motion pursuant to Government Code Section 54953 to approve the employment contract for Dr. Candace Perez as Deputy Superintendent of Academic Leadership Team One, a term of April 1st, 2026 through June 30th, 2028. And two, the deputy superintendent salary shall be $335,625, paid in 12 monthly payments. Number three, the deputy superintendent shall receive a $350 per month car allowance. And four, during the term of the contract, the deputy superintendent shall be entitled to such health and fringe benefits provided to all other certificated employees in the district.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Dr. Kim, I'll pass to you for comments.
Given that I was able to talk about adding Dr. Perez to our team earlier, I don't have any additional comments to make.
Thank you. Anybody comments? All right, we'll take a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, motion carries 5-0 with an aye from Simran. Okay, now that brings us to our board report. And we'll start down at the end with you, Mr. Frazier.
All right. Since about February 1st, I've been chained to my desk since it's tax season and I'm a CPA, and that's what we do. But the thing that I am seeing, and I'm assuming most of us are seeing this, but maybe not all of us, the advancements in technology, specifically with AI in the last, I'll say week, but really the last month and a half has been crazy. It's impacted my workflow, it's impacted my business, impacted my customers, and the thing that I see coming down the pike, AI is going to disrupt education at a level that I don't think any of us are prepared for. We just approved a 6-year curriculum that I think in a year might be able to be replicated by AI with custom learnings for each individual student's learning style, choice, and in a voice that they understand. I think that with all of this going on, there are people that are seeing that this is the future. I mean, obviously, if you've been on social media or you've been in any sort of online forum at all, it is the hot topic. And it's that way for a reason, because it is extremely helpful. It also is just a tool, but it's one of those things that I think specifically for us, and Dr. Kim, I've spoken to you about this a little bit, I would like to see us lean into utilizing it in a safe way that can put us in a position to be ready for that next wave of technology, so that our teachers are prepared, our administrators are prepared, and our students are prepared, because most of the jobs that are going to be, quote, taken over by AI, which people are talking about, are just going to transition to people monitoring or managing or prompting the AI. And that's something that I think we can assist students with to prepare them to actually get jobs, I think even maybe quicker than we can now, just because of the way that is, the technology is moving. So I just want to make that statement to say that I think that a disruption to the education world is coming in a major way, and I want us to be out in front of it. And I think there are things that we can do inside of how we choose curriculum, and how we adopt things at a district level, and how we create even just, Liz, you mentioned a website. Like, that can be created in 10 minutes with an AI prompt. So the things that we can do internally that we maybe don't have to, Jeremy can actually have less time but still do more work, I think is going to be a great thing for him, right? All of this to say that I'm experiencing it in a very positive way. I'm seeing that the trend that the world is going towards, we need to make sure that we are not shying away for it just because that's not what we do. I think we need to integrate it in a way that's appropriate for our district, for our teachers, for our students, and we need to make sure that we are a beacon for districts across the country, really, but honestly, for us to be a place where we are leading the charge and giving our students and our teachers tools and insights to be able to utilize this at a level that's going to maximize their success in their future. And I just want to make sure that also the robot overlords, you guys are great. So that's my report.
Okay, we missed our last board report, and so I kind of have forgotten a lot of the things that we did. But I do remember that I was at Travis Ranch on Friday, right? Was it Friday? Okay. I read to the 4th grade class. They were a great class, and I made sure I wore fourth graders like to throw some shade at you. And so I made sure I had on like some taller shoes, because the last time that I took a picture with fourth graders, they said, "How tall are you?" So I wore a little bit higher shoes, so I was able to stand in the back for the picture. But had a really good time doing that. Went to the Eldo boys basketball game when they lost to Mater Dei. We'd been kind of following them in their quest. That was really exciting. The Esperanza girls basketball team. I was able to go see Yorba Linda High School and Esperanza soccer. And just had some fun doing that, especially when you have a lot of, on both teams for Yorba Linda and Esperanza, a lot of my friends' kids are playing. And so it was really fun to see them play, especially when I was able to attend their senior night. I was really happy with Dr. Kim when OCSCS is having a problem. They have a play that's coming up, and they've been practicing, and they've lost the place, so they couldn't afford a theater to put the play on, so they were going to have to move it to a video. And so people, as I told her when I texted her, I said, this is not on my bingo card for the night. But there was, some kids that were really upset, and so I'm glad that she's trying to find a way to make it happen so that they can do a play. And then also, too, just talking about OCSCS, I'm really been happy about the talks that we've been in, because we know last year for OCSCS, like with I guess we could say, the contract, the charter contract, is being violated, and things were being changed, and it's not what the school was originally intended to be. And so I'm really happy that our staff is going to return that school to what it's supposed to be. But I just think that they've had a hard year, and so kind of taking the play away, it was kind of a sad thing. And I'm not going to go on to too much else. I just think sometimes, too, with this misinformation that comes on, obviously, our good friend who came up and spoke, and he quotes a little tiny snippet of a social media comment. And I just think it's very funny how that's what we're doing now, is we're taking these little snippets, and we're doing that, too, just in general with a lot of things. Everybody takes a little point that they want to make. But what he fails to talk about is when we were talking about the resolution and the board policy that was coming up, and this was from a few weeks ago. The question was it wasn't about targeting Hispanic populations or Asian. The question, the whole comment, if you read the whole thread, as you go into more and more, we say, it appeared, because we have a large Asian community as well that has not been up in arms in Yorba Linda about ICE coming onto campuses. In fact, we haven't really heard too much from them. And so we said, is the media and is social media targeting a specific group of people? And so when someone, because I actually know this person, she's a friend of mine, we go to church together, she made a comment about should she be afraid for her son, who's Hispanic, to walk, to even be walking down the street. And I simply made the comment of, why is it basically that the Hispanic community is so afraid, but all of our other communities, they don't seem to be as afraid? And is this a targeted, is this a target approach by people on social media and by the media itself? So I just encourage people not to take little snippets and then, post it and then come up here and embarrass yourself in your comments when you're absolutely I feel bad. I feel bad for all the speakers tonight who spoke and who were completely misinformed about the board policies, about the resolutions, and I just think it's embarrassing. So I think for everyone, it would behoove us all to make sure that we have pertinent information put out and that we actually know what we're talking about when we discuss things. So knowledge is power. That's all.
Okay. This was a busy month. I attended a couple of the Valencia High School boys soccer games. They were in the open division, which is the toughest division, and they were just a fun team to watch. And I was really impressed by their playing ability and their sportsmanship. I attended Ruby Drive Lunch with a Loved One, and it was a great time to see so many parents on campus. And as parents in the community, we're doing scavenger hunts throughout the campus to learn more about AVID. And I actually learned a new fact about Ruby, which I didn't know. I thought I knew it all, but it was fun to learn something new, that Ruby Drive is in the top 1% of all Avid schools throughout the United States. So that is a huge accomplishment for them. I attended the Venture Choir Concert of Love, and it was just such a fun night. I was sitting in the back of kind of the theater, surrounded by a lot of parents, and it was just great to hear their comments of the friends and family. They were just so impressed by the students' ability and the I guess the pride they felt for their kids, and seeing how their vocal talents were just stretched and the quality that they did. And so that was great. And so many thanks to Miss Carmen and the whole Venture staff for their support and nurturing of these amazing students. I also attended one of the district choir concerts where they had elementary through high school, and it was just really a great night to hear the progression of music, and also to see elementary vocal music coming strong with the expansion in the elementary school. So I'm excited to see how that program grows and how the growth of the elementary will affect in our high schools. So, and the other thing that was so impressive was the inclusion of so many of our special needs students. And I just love seeing them on stage and performing, and their enthusiasm and the support that they got from their families and from their peers. It was just such a great time. Last Friday, Read Across America Day, I had the privilege of reading at Ruby Drive, Linda Vista, and Travis Ranch. And it was really great to share my love of reading with all these students. I even had a TK student grab a book and read to me. And he's going places. So we're going to watch him. I've got him on my radar, and just to see that. And it was just so fun to see all the parents and the staff providing such wonderful experiences for our young readers. I attended Topaz Career Day, and it was really fun talking to students about the skills that I use every day and how they reflect what they're learning in school. And I'm just going to do a couple shout outs. Todd mentioned AI, and in our consent calendar 18.1, tonight we approved a partnership with the IOL group to provide leadership coaching, AI strategy, and strategic support for K-12 education. And we're going to be sending leaders to a cohort, and so our district is on it. And then Shamrock and Run, I won't be able to attend due to a conflict, but I hope everyone goes out and supports the Reach Foundation. They do so many wonderful things for our district, and they're such an asset. And then a shout out to Love Placentia and Love Yorba Linda. They're both going to be taking place on April 25th. And this year is Love Placentia's 10th anniversary. I can't believe I've been doing this for 10 years. And it's a great way to volunteer and make a difference in your community. And if you want to get more information, you can go to loveplacentia.com and loveyourbelinda.org and participate and volunteer. And again, it's a great way for students to get community service hours. It's a great way to connect with your community, and it really builds our community and makes it a lovely place to live. And that is the end of my report.
All right. Well, I tried to condense my February and March report, so hopefully it doesn't take too long. I had this part at the end because I was hoping that the game would be over by the time we got to board reports, and it is. So I would like to congratulate Coach Matt Raya and the El Dorado High School girls basketball team for first winning their CIF championship a couple weeks ago. And now, tonight, they won 61-56, from what I heard was a very exciting game, to advance to the state finals on Saturday. So congratulations again. Their hard work and dedication to their team is evidenced are evident in their success. Their determination, teamwork, and commitment throughout the season have made the entire El Dorado and PYL community proud. All right, so I'll go on to my rest. Since January, I've had the pleasure of attending several school and community events. I attended the EDHS Art Showcase, which featured exhibits and performances from the Visual and Performing Arts departments in a casual outdoor patio setting. The event highlighted choir ensembles, instrumental music, band, orchestra, ceramics, photography, theater arts, video production, and graphic design. In the visual arts, it was evident that the students are being introduced and mastering the elements of art and principle of design. It was also wonderful to see the diverse offerings within the performing arts department that were presented live that evening. The ambiance of the evening was memorable, with the student talent showcased under the stars. It was held outside in one of their art quad area with the lighting and tables and dinner to go with it, so it was very fun to attend. I also attended a spectacular performance of Dare to Dream Jr. at El Dorado. The production portrayed aspiring Disney Imagineers in a musically inspiring performance centered on the message of never giving up on your dreams. Songs from The Lion King, Frozen, Aladdin, Toy Story, Coco, and other Disney favorites were brought to life by the talented cast. I especially appreciated how younger audience members were able to sit up close to the stage so they did not miss a moment of the performance. In addition, I participated in the annual Stripes of Warrior 5K at Yorba Regional Park. This is an event my family and I have supported for several years. The organization fundraises to support individuals battling cancer within the Placentia-Yorba community. Stripes hosts fundraisers throughout the year, and 100% of their proceeds benefit individuals in need. I encourage you to visit their website to learn more about the impactful work that Mindy and her team continue to do. I had the honor of attending Placentia Community Foundation Centennial Gala at the Alta Vista Country Club. The evening included silent and live auctions, live entertainment, casino games, and an award ceremony honoring exceptional Placentia residents. The celebration focused on 100 years of the city's history while also highlighting the vision of its future. Many community leaders were in attendance and were recognized for their significant contributions. I visited Valadez Middle School Academy and was impressed by the calm, student-centered, and positive campus environment which set a strong tone for learning. Teachers were using a variety of effective instructional practices, strategies, including AVID, SEL, and MTSS. I observed high levels of student engagement across all classrooms, with students learning through multiple modalities. Some classes participated in teacher-led discussions focused on real-life math problems. Others illustrated key events from novels. They listened to real-life math problems, while others listened to dramatic read-aloud, or engaged in peer share activities around essential questions. I was also impressed by the advanced equipment students are using in the video production program. The pride demonstrated by students, staff, and teachers exemplifies personal responsibility and daily effort. Thank you to Mr. Trong and the staff for the warm welcome. Later that same day, I visited Melrose Elementary School. Mrs. Weber enthusiastically shared the many positive activities taking place on campus. It was wonderful to witness learning in action with the students actively engaged in meaningful tasks. Teachers delivering relevant lessons and targeting groups was clearly evident. Targeted groups were clearly evident. I enjoyed seeing GLAD strategies in action in several classrooms. The targeted small group GLAD lessons were led by aides and teachers that are essential in meeting the students at their individual learning levels. Providing small group instruction is a priority at Melrose, and it will be exciting to see with their continued improvement in the LPAC scores as resources are effectively utilized. The excitement on campus was also evident as preparations were underway for their Jogathon fundraiser, with many parent and volunteers present to lend support. Thank you, Melrose community, for your hospitality. I attended the 46th annual Orange County Black History Parade in Anaheim to support the Yorba High School's Black Student Union as they proudly marched in the parade. It was a beautiful day to celebrate the many accomplishments of the community. The parade was well attended with numerous groups, schools, academies, and performers attending. Thank you to Gina for your invitation. Yorba High School Black Student Union represented their school with pride. Since the last meeting, I had the pleasure of attending Linda Vista's elementary school performance of Annie. It was a joyful and heartwarming show. The young performers brought great energy and enthusiasm to the stage, singing and acting with confidence. The cast worked together to create a lively and entertaining show. Colorful costumes and well-designed sets and the students' excitement made the performance memorable for everyone in attendance. It was clear that the hard work and practice paid off with smiles filling the crowd. Thank you to the Linda Vista PTA and Houston Performing Arts for supporting our PYL students' performance. On February 25th, I attended the El Dorado Golden Hawk Scholar Night, a night that honors and celebrates the top 5% of their class. Students in grade 9 through 12 were in attendance, and their accomplishments of these students were strong, and especially the support of their families was evident. I look forward to seeing the pathways that they take in finishing high school and pursuing their goals in college and beyond. The day after, I was excited to attend the talented Venture Academy's Choir Concert of Love. The songs that were selected by Ms. Carmen were entertaining and engaging. Venture students performed songs from many decades and genres, giving the audience a variety of music to enjoy. The audience had a great time clapping and singing along, and the show even featured a special performance by Ms. Carmen and Mr. Yoel on the saxophone. This is my second year attending, and I'm already looking forward to next year's performance. I'm looking forward to participating in the Shamrock and Run on Sunday, and this is the Reach Foundation's, as stated earlier, annual fundraiser benefiting programs such as STEM and supporting educator grants. They support with at least $20,000 every year in educator grants, and that really helps impact our students across the district. And again, congratulations to all the PYL teams who qualify for CIF for the winter sports and their playoffs, and good luck to all the spring sports that are beginning. Thank you. Sorry, that was long.
I attended a few of those with all of you, so I'll just briefly mention. So after the last January board meeting, I don't know if it was right before or right after, but it was right after, I attended the Miss Yorba, Placentia, and now Canyon Hills pageant, and where 20 girls were there, 20 girls and young women were there to compete for the different titles. So congratulations to Miss Placentia Ashley Lee, Miss Yorba, Brenna Marzo, Miss Canyon Hills Malia Walker, Miss Placentia teen Sophia Lombardi, Miss Yorba teen Charlie Bowen, and Miss Teen Canyon Hills Catherine Devlin. Some of these live in our community, some go to our schools, so it was a really fun night to see that competition. I had never been before. It was quite an event with all the different ways that the students were, or the young ladies were showcased. So congratulations to all of them. I attended the anniversary gala for Placentia as well, and also thank you for the invitation to the Black History Month parade in Anaheim. I attended that as well. I'm surprised I didn't see you. So that was a really nice parade I had never been to before. At the February OCSBA's director meeting, it was decided that we are not going to be hosting our spring dinner. However, we're excited and pleased to invite everybody. Hopefully you received an invitation. And the invitation, I believe, was even extended to PTAs for a speaker featuring Tammy Pfeiffer, I think is how you spell or say her last name. She's the Chief Executive Affairs Officer for Unite and co-creator of the Dignity Index. So on March 19th at OCDE Conference Center, we'll be engaging in a thought-provoking presentation on the topic that is relevant and impactful for today's educational leaders. So I hope you all can attend. There will be light hors d'oeuvres prior to the presentation. And at the February CSBA delegate meeting, we heard presentations on the governor's budget and workforce housing information that I can also share along. Right after the February board meeting, I was able to attend El Camino Real High School and had the honor of meeting the student artist that provided our artwork to us at our previous board meeting, and I was able to hear the story behind his art, and we actually even had a personal connection about the art that he makes and some things that are relevant in my life. So it was really fun to meet him and to spend a little time learning about where that piece of art came from. In February, I attended Seussical Junior, performed by the joint cast of Kramer Middle, Ruby Drive, and Tynes Elementary students. It was absolutely wonderful. The kids were amazing. I was very impressed by the talent and the set decorations and the preparedness and the timing. Everything just was so smooth. I was a stage manager back in high school. I know how hard that is. And when you have students that are helping with that and parents, it was really nice. It was a great job to all of those involved. And after our last board meeting, I also met with PYL-USD Student Climate Coalition, which is comprised of students from all of our high schools around the district, and they invited me to learn about their concerns and suggestions that they had about climate change and the call to action for climate restoration. At the end of February, I had the honor of meeting with Dr. Kim, Mayor Carlos Rodriguez, Peter Grant from the City of Yorba Linda and his staff to talk about the new e-bike ordinance that the City Council in Yorba Linda has passed. And we discussed ways that we can make sure that the parents and the students are aware of the new ordinances and make sure they're riding safe to and from school. So I hope more to come on that, on getting that communication out to everybody in the community. Then I wrapped up February with the fantastic Concert of Love by Venture Academy Choir. It was, as you said, just amazing. It's one of those highlights of the year. And I was also at Travis Ranch on Friday with the community Read Day and Read Across America. So we're all out doing all those fun things around the community. Thank you for all the invitations to come and see what our students are doing. It's fun to tour classrooms, but it's also really fun to see them out doing the fun activities outside of school that they've been working so hard on. And that is the end of my report. So,
I was gonna just add, since you mentioned the e-bikes, I'm curious to see Newport Mesa had on their agenda tonight to actually ban e-bikes from K through I think 8 from their campuses, because they say they have 300 to 400 e-bikes on certain campuses, and they're having so many problems, like with accidents and these kids hitting pedestrians. And so I didn't want to I kind of wanted to log in and see where it was going.
Yeah.
But they did call and ask if we were having the same issues. And I said, well, we have issues, but we don't have the same. But
Not
I'm
in
curious to
that
see if
mass.
it passes, and then if we need to get there, like how, we kind of have an example of what other districts are now doing.
Yeah, I'm not sure how you ban all
Well,
of those,
so-
but you definitely need to put parameters around
Well,
it.
and I think too, the way it's they can't park it on campus, so they feel like it's going to dissuade them from being able to, what do you do with it, And then I guess the police department has an ordinance now that you can't just park the bike away from the school, outside the school, chain it up to the fence. So it kind of seems like everybody's collaborating, but just off of the
Interesting.
e-bike stuff.
Well, hopefully we'll collaborate and make sure that our kids are safe and do it in a way that follows our ordinance. And so I guess more to come on that. Marilyn, I will pass to you.
Okay. I'd like to adjourn the March 10th, 2026 Board of Education meeting in memory of Helen Nelson.
Second.
Okay. Tonight, as we adjourn in memory of Helen Nelson, Helen's career spanned 26 years of teaching in Placentia-Yorba Linda Unified School District at Travis Ranch Elementary and Melrose Elementary School. Her commitment to her students extended far beyond the classroom. She served in numerous capacities, including technology coach, administrative designee, health coach, after-school teacher, lead teacher, test coordinator. Her profound impact on the district, students, and community will never be forgotten, and she will be deeply missed. We send our deepest condolences to her family and friends.
Okay, with that, I'll take a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, motion carries 5-0.